Hello all, myself Prudhvidhar Reddy. I teach Polity, Governance and Public Administration. Okay, you can find me in every institution, but my services are very well dedicated at Excel Civils Academy. Okay, right. So here we are going to discuss about the orientation regarding polity and governance. As you know very well, civil services examination is conducted at 3 stages. Tell me what are those? Prelims, mains and interview or personality test. Okay. This is how the examination is conducted at 3 different levels. Okay. So as we come to the subject called as polity and governance, it is very much important subject covering all these 3 stages of examination, right? In the preliminary examination, it is one of the important subjects. Why? Because if you try to see the previous year's questions, almost all 20 to 22 questions have been asked. So what is the basic cutoff marks, expected cutoff marks for the prelims, every preliminary examination? Generally around 90 to 95. Example, I am telling you liberally, out of 90 marks, for example, if it is cut off, 45 above marks are covered from polity and governance. And apart from that, general studies, there are 4 general studies papers, okay, along with, what is it, essay paper, okay. So every general studies paper carries how many marks? 250 marks. How many marks? 250 marks. Even paper 2 also carries 250 marks. In the paper 2, general studies paper 2, we have the syllabus regarding polity, governance, social justice and international relations. Okay. From polity and governance itself, almost all 180-200 marks generally come from polity and governance. Right? And even in order to understand, even in order to answer the interview questions also, you need to require the knowledge about polity and constitution, without which you can't be confident enough to answer such questions in the interview. That's the reason why it is such an important subject. Okay? Because no subject in the UPSC papers will offer you 180 to 200 marks. For example, if you study history, how many marks you would expect? Hardly 80 marks. Hardly 80 marks. If you study economy, I don't want to tell you don't study those subjects. I am trying to explain you the relevance of polity and governance. It is such an important subject. That's why our classes will begin with polity and governance. Okay. Economy, if you study, okay, it is a part of many subjects in the paper 3. Economy, science and technology, environment and internal security. Okay, whereas polity and governance will offer you huge advantage in the general studies paper 2. That's why we need to study conceptually. Okay, we need to study, we should not be mugging up the subject. Generally people refer which book for polity and governance? Lakshmikant. But indeed you just go through previous year's questions, just 2024 mains questions, and go through Lakshmikant. Okay, I will give you Lakshmikant, just open the book and write answers. Will you be able to write answers? No. Why? Because Lakshmikant does not offer you ready-made answers for general studies paper 2. It can help you, it can assist you in understanding subject, but it does not help you in writing answers. Okay? That's why UPSC coaching is very important. Examination is becoming so much dynamic. In order to understand this dynamics, classroom assistance is definitely required. Because the very purpose of coaching is to simplify your preparation. So I will give you the notes in the simplified format and I will give you explanation which is examination relevant, so that you don't require to refer any other book other than our classroom notes. And you can make some additions from the current affairs indeed, but you don't require to write any new notes altogether. So that is what assurance I can give you. Did you understand? Right. So coming to the syllabus as far as this polity and governance is concerned. Okay. So in the preliminary stage, this is what the syllabus. What is that syllabus? Indian polity, governance, constitution, political system, panchayat raj system, public policy and rights issues, etc. This is what the syllabus. Okay. But would you believe in preparing separately for prelims and preparing separately for mains? Can you do that? Ideally, what is to be done for UPSC preparation? Initially, the aspirant should prepare for mains. Later, the preparation for the prelims comes next. And moreover, if you study the main syllabus in a comprehensive manner, it is not that difficult to answer preliminary questions. You don't require to have separate preparation for prelims and mains. We need to have some integrated preparation. Okay, right. That's the reason why we need to understand the mains first. When you understand the concepts, then definitely it will be helpful to understand the prelims. So clearing preliminary questions is not that difficult if you understand the subject properly, especially in the general studies paper 2 syllabus. Okay, right. So coming to the main syllabus, this is what the syllabus. What is the syllabus? The very name of the paper is governance, constitution, what is it? Polity, social justice. Polity, social justice, as well as international relations. International relations. International relations. This is what the name of the subject, that is the title of the paper, paper 2. So in this particular paper 2, we are going to study all these dimensions. Okay. Indian constitution, functions and responsibilities of union and states, separation of powers, comparison of Indian constitutional scheme with other constitutions, parliament and state legislature, structure and organization of the government, salient features of RPA, appointment of various constitutional posts. So this is how the syllabus is organized. Okay. First of all, see in what way this syllabus is organized. If you try to see, the very organization of the syllabus has some meaning. Okay. What is that meaning? First of all, what is given? Indian constitution is given. Okay. So in what sense you can understand Constitution of India? What is constitution? Tell me. Constitution means what? So the meaning of the constitution is very important to understand the essence of the subject. Okay, right. So how, in what way we can define the constitution? So we can define the constitution as it is a blueprint for social, economic and political life of the people in the country. This is what called as constitution. Constitution is nothing but, what is it? Blueprint. Blueprint means it will explain what are your rights. What are your rights? What is the power of the government to regulate the people? Okay, what is permitted? What is not permitted? What is permitted for the people? What is not permitted for the government? What are the do's of the government? What are the don'ts of the government? Did you understand? That's how the constitution will provide. The constitution will provide you a political system. What is it? Yes. The constitution provides you the political system. The political system is established by means of constitution. Is it clear? You see this organization of the paper, how beautifully the paper is organized, right? The constitution has not been made without context. Okay? The constitution has definitely the context. What is that context? What is it? Historical underpinnings, evolution. Historical underpinnings and evolution. What does it mean? It means Indian constitution has been made after liberation of India from foreign rule. When India got liberated from foreign rule, we determined to rule the country ourselves. Right? Did you understand? During the British rule, whether the people have enjoyed the rights? No. People's rights were suppressed by the British government. There was no democratic government. Rather, there was a kind of a colonial government. What is it? Colonial government. British government has ruled India, British government has governed India, not in the interest of the people of India, in the interest of the British government and British people. They looted our resources and established factories in UK. and they did not make any effort to change the country or transform the country. They simply enjoyed the resources and left the people ungoverned. That was the status of people in the British rule. Did you understand? And after the liberation from the British rule, then what we require to do? We need to establish a system. We need to establish a system. That system can be established only by means of, what is it? Constitution. Constitution. But constitution, can it be established out of vacuum or out of our experiences? Did you get my point? Yes, we want to establish the constitution, the blueprint for the social, political and economic life of the people. Yes, we need to establish that. But how it can be created? Out of the experiences or not? Out of our experiences. Whatever the ordeals, whatever the troubles we have faced during the British rule, those troubles must be answered by means of Indian Constitution. I think in your school age, you might have studied Vande Mataram movement. Have you studied? Have you ever studied Vande Mataram movement, Swadeshi movement? After Bengal partition, people have come up with, what is that movement? Swadeshi movement or Vande Mataram movement. During that movement, people have given a slogan. What was the slogan, you know? No taxation without representation. No taxation without representation. Yes, you can tax us, you can impose the taxes on the people of India. But according to what you need to impose? According to the consent of the people. According to the consent of the people. Consent means people have to give permission for the British government to impose the taxes. Did you understand? That principle has been translated into Indian Constitution. Example, Article 265 of the Constitution says, no taxation without the authority of law. No taxation without the authority of law. Only by means of law you can impose the tax. So law is nothing but expression of the opinion of the people. Expression of the opinion of the people. The consent of the people is expressed in the form of law. Are you able to understand? So the experience during the British rule is translated into Constitution. That translation is studied in the form of historical underpinnings. Is it clear? For example, have you ever heard the Jallianwala Bagh massacre? Have you ever heard? What is that massacre about? Killing the people, simply. Why the people were killed? Because people have protested against Rowlatt Act. People have protested against Rowlatt Act. What was Rowlatt Act? Imprisoning the person. Yes. Rowlatt Act is nothing but imprisoning the person without any trial. Actually, if you want to impose the punishment on a person, what is required? Trial is required. A fair trial is required. Trial means what? The judiciary will examine the causes of the arrest, okay, the allegations on the person, and it will be examining this particular case with the proper evidences. Later, the judiciary will be imposing the punishment or acquitting the person. If the person commits a crime, he is declared to be convict. Convict means the person who has committed the crime. Okay. Otherwise, he will be left as an innocent. Did you understand? This is what trial. This is what trial. So trial means what? The examination by the judiciary to determine the guilt of the person is called as trial. Whether the person is really committed the offence or not. If it is properly decided, that is what called as trial. So without the trial, the person can be imprisoned for 2 years. Tell me, is it fair or unfair? Unfair. Despite you did not commit any offence, if you are thrown into the jail, it is definitely unfair. This is going against the laws of the nature. Laws of the nature. What is the law of the nature? Nature says, no man shall be condemned unheard. No man shall be condemned unheard. No person shall be committed. No person shall be imposed with the punishment without the determination of the guilt. అర్థమవుతుందా? ఒక వ్యక్తి పైన మనం పనిష్మెంట్ ఇంపోజ్ చేయాలంటే ఫస్ట్ మనం ఏం డిటర్మైన్ చేయాలి? వెదర్ హీ హెస్ కమిటెడ్ క్రైమ్ ఆర్ నాట్. Otherwise, the person is not liable for punishment. But still, the British government used this kind of brutal law to suppress the people, to suppress the freedom struggle. Did you understand? So tell me, did it imprint on our hearts? Even today also, Jallianwala Bagh massacre is generally remembered. Yes or no? Recently, British government and British legislators have tendered apology for the people of India. We have done something wrong against you. Please pardon us. Did you understand? Naturally, this principle also got reflected in the Constitution of India. Example, Article 20. Article 20 says, no person shall be punished except when there is a fair trial. Except when there is a fair trial. Are you able to understand? So we have gathered our experiences and translated in the form of Indian Constitution. For example, what are the powers of the president? Do you know President of India? He is the head of the Indian state. What are his powers? We have taken those powers from Indian Councils Act of 1861. Who has enacted this? British government. That is reflected in the form of Indian Constitution. That's why we will be studying historical underpinnings. How Indian Constitution has emerged to this level. We will be studying in the form of various British measures of administration, various British laws. Accordingly, we will be understanding how Indian Constitution has evolved at this particular stage. Are you able to understand? Right. Then we will be studying features. Features means the important characteristics of the Indian Constitution. Right. Tell me one important characteristics of the Indian Constitution. One important feature. It establishes democracy. It establishes democracy. What is democracy? Democracy means what? People's rule. Okay. The people will choose their own rulers. People will choose their own rulers. Okay. Government is formed by people by means of election. By means of election. And election is conducted after every 15 years, after every 5 years. So government is giving little time or more time? Little time. So that you are preventing the establishment of dictatorship. Preventing the establishment of dictatorship. Whether the government has likes or dislikes, elections will be mandatory for every 5 years. So ultimately the power is vested with people. If people want, they can change the government. They can give opportunity to other political party to form the government. Eventually, what is expected? The governance must be able to address the needs and aspirations of the people. So, Constitution establishes democracy. What kind of democracy we follow in the country? It is called as parliamentary form of democracy. We will be studying everything in detail. What is parliamentary form of democracy? What is presidential form of democracy? Okay, why we have chosen parliamentary form of democracy over presidential form of democracy? That will be studied. Can you give me another feature of Indian Constitution? You don't require to study Constitution in order to tell about the features of Constitution. Am I right or wrong? For example, Indian Constitution declares India to be republic. India to be republic. What is republic? Republic means what? We generally celebrate Republic Day, right? What does it mean? What does it mean? It means that people got the power. The day we celebrate is people got the power. Did you understand? Who is the source of power for this Constitution of India? Who is the source? People are the source. You might have gone through preamble. Do you know preamble? We the people of India solemnly resolve to constitute India into sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic. With what letter, with what word it begins? We, the people of India. Who is the source of this Constitution? Source for the power of the Constitution. What is it? People. People are the source. So in other words, will there be ruling class in the country? Whether political opportunities can be obtained by everybody equally or only few sections of population? Everybody equal. Okay, any person, suppose he is a person, what's your name? Mallesh can become President of India, who knows? What do you test for the President of India? Whether you are citizen or not, whether you have completed 35 years of age or not, whether you have other eligibilities like eligible to contest in the Lok Sabha elections. That is also one of the eligibilities for President of India. So you are eligible to become President of India. So your lineage, your inheritance is tested. Whether your forefathers were kings or queens, is it tested? Whether your blood is royal blood or ordinary blood, it is tested? No. So simply we can say absence of ruling class. Absence of ruling class. So that is what, which feature? Republican feature. So those kind of features we will be studying in the features of Constitution. Okay, right. Similarly, Indian Constitution establishes what? Secularism. What is it? Secularism. Simply we can understand Constitution establishes a modern state, modern government. Modern state or Modern government. In the history, you might know a king called as Balban. Do you know? Anytime you have heard this, Balban winner repena. What is Balban is known for? He has introduced two traditions in his court, Siza and Paiboza, where the visitors have to kiss the wrist of the king and prostrate in front of king. Why? King is equated with God. Now tell me, in democracy, whether the prime minister is equated with God? No, he is treated equal. He is treated equal. Why? Because Indian constitution establishes rule of law. Rule of law. In front of law, everybody is equal. That is also the feature of the Indian constitution. Constitution establishes a government. Government for what? For the regulation of society. For the regulation of society. You just imagine if the police is not there, no traffic signals are there. Can you move from Banjara Hills to Mehdipatnam? No. Why? Because it will create disorderliness. It is just one example. If there is no government, your life will be completely disordered. Why? Because the one who is powerful, he will be able to take the advantage and he will be able to suppress the rights and resources of the other persons. Whether the society will be well governed or undergoverned, poorly governed in the absence of the government. That's why we need to have government. And government should have more powers or little powers? Little powers. It should have powers only in proportion with the requirement of governance. Only to that extent the society is to be regulated, only that extent only government must be having powers. Suppose you are going on the road, you are going in a car, okay, what does the police officer ask you? Why are you coming in the car? Does he ask this question? What does he ask? Do you have the driving license or not? Okay. Does the police officer ask the choice of vehicle? No, he won't ask you the choice of vehicle. What does it mean? Government has limited powers or unlimited powers? Limited powers. That limited powers are established by constitution. Why we got to know about this point? Why government should be having limited powers? Because we have seen the British rule. British government has enjoyed unlimited powers. For example, arresting the person and imprisoning the person without reason. Is it limited power or unlimited power? Unlimited power. We can say it is an arbitrary power. What is it? Arbitrary power. What is arbitrary power? The power is exercised at the choice of the individual. The individual's likes and dislikes are governing the power of the country, power of the government. That is what called as arbitrariness. Is it clear? So that arbitrariness must be checked by means of the establishment of which government? Limited or unlimited? Limited government. That is what about Indian constitution. We will be studying all these things in the process of features. Amendments. What is amendment? Now tell me, when the Constitution of India came into enforcement? Approach in the Constitution enforcement loki? January 26, 1950. When the Constitution was enacted? Preamble lo untundi, November 26, 1949. This is the date of enactment. The date of enforcement is January 26, 1950. Now tell me, Constitution of India has been enacted during the times of 1947 and 1949. Tell me whether the society of 1949 is identical to that of the present day society. Are you able to understand? What is the status of society today? The status of society in 1949. Whether are these two similar or completely dissimilar? Dissimilar. At that point of time, people were crying only for food and shelter. Now people are striving for comfortable life. People are striving for comfortable life. At that point of time, people were striving only for survival. Now we are fighting for dignity. We are fighting for dignity. Am I right or wrong? Yes or no? Do you like the domination of any person over you? No. But at that point of time, people have sustained the domination. So definitely society has evolved, has changed. Naturally, the constitution has to change or not? Definitely yes. At that point of time, education was not your fundamental right. Presently, education is fundamental right, basic right. No one can deny this. For 6 to 14 years age of children, state has a bounden responsibility to create educational opportunities. Otherwise, state is completely failed. Did you understand? That's why the society has changed from 1949 to present times. Naturally, constitution requires to change or not? Yes, it requires to change. That's why constitution is called as living document. What is that? Living document. Okay, in other words, what is the purpose of the constitution? To serve the needs of the society. To serve the needs of the society. Giving everyone equal opportunity. Giving everyone equal opportunity. Are you able to understand? So naturally, whatever the changes that happen in the society, such changes must be accommodated in the constitution. The changes can be accommodated by means of, what is it? Amendments. Then what is amendment? Amendment means adding a new provision, repealing any provision, or making any variation in the constitution. Adding a new provision. Actually, provision is generally called as article. What is it called? Article. The rules in the constitution is called as articles. Okay, if you make any changes to these articles by means of adding a new article, or repealing the existing article, or making any modification within the articles, that is what called as amendment. Is it clear? For example, in the constitution by means of 86th Constitution Amendment Act, we have added article 21A. What is it? 21A. 21A is about right to education. Right to education. Free and compulsory education for the children between the ages of 6 to 14 years. చెప్పండి, ఎడ్యుకేషన్ లేకపోతే మన లైఫ్కి ఫుల్ఫిల్మెంట్ ఉంటుందా? ఉండదు. మన చాయిసెస్, వాట్ ఎవర్ ద చాయిసెస్ వి మేక్ ఇన్ ద డే టు డే లైఫ్, దోస్ విల్ బీ కంప్లీట్లీ మిస్ప్లేస్డ్ ఇన్ ద అబ్సెన్స్ ఆఫ్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్. ఎడ్యుకేషన్ లేకపోతే ఏమవుతుంది? లైఫ్ అనేది ఇట్స్ యానిమల్ లైక్ ఎగ్జిస్టెన్స్. ఇది నేను చెప్పింది, ఎవరు చెప్పారు? సుప్రీంకోర్టు చెప్పింది. సుప్రీంకోర్టు said in one of the cases, okay, like Khadak Singh versus state of Uttar Pradesh, Supreme Court said, if there is no dignity, the life is meaningless. How the dignity can be acquired? By means of education. Ardhavutunda? Right. So similarly, we have made how many amendments? 106 amendments. How many? 106 amendments. Amendment అంటే మీనింగ్ తెస్తాలు 2 మార్క్స్ వస్తాయి మీకు ప్రిలిమ్స్లో. మొన్నటి ఎగ్జామినేషన్ అడిగాడు, అకార్డింగ్ టు ద కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా అమెండ్మెంట్ మీన్స్ అని అడిగాడు. ఏ అడిషన్, బి రిపీల్, సి వేరియేషన్. సో కింద 1 2 3 ఇచ్చి కింద 1 ఓన్లీ, 2 ఓన్లీ, 3 1 2 3 అని అడిగాడు. ఆన్సర్ ఏంటి? ఆల్ ది 3. చూడండి, సబ్జెక్ట్ ఇంత సింపుల్గా నేర్చుకోవచ్చు. అర్థమవుతుందా? సో దీనికి కావాల్సింది ఏంటి? ఒక కాన్సెప్చువల్ అప్రోచ్. ఊరికి బ్లైండ్గా బై హార్ట్ చేస్తే లక్ష్మీకాంత్ ఉపయోగపడదు మీకు ప్రిపరేషన్కి. అర్థమవుతుందా? రైట్. అమెండ్మెంట్స్. నెక్స్ట్, సిగ్నిఫికెంట్ ప్రొవిజన్స్. వాట్ ఈస్ దట్? సిగ్నిఫికెంట్ ప్రొవిజన్స్. మన కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్లో ఎన్ని ప్రొవిజన్స్ ఉన్నాయి చెప్పండి? హౌ మెనీ ప్రొవిజన్స్ దట్ ఆర్ దేర్ ఇన్ ద కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా? ఎన్ని ఆర్టికల్స్ ఉన్నాయి? ఇఫ్ యూ హ్యావ్ ఎనీ ప్రిలిమినరీ నాలెడ్జ్, ఇండియన్ కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ హ్యాస్ హౌ మెనీ ఆర్టికల్స్? 395 articles. 395 articles. What is article? Article ante enti? It is nothing but provisions, or you can say these are called as emantam rules. Rules which are, what is it? What is it? Numbered. The numbered rules are called as articles. Likewise, how many articles are there? 395 articles are there. Why articles are mentioned in the constitution? To confuse aspirants? No, the purpose is to easily refer any given condition or rule in the constitution. For that requirement, we have organized the provisions into various articles. Likewise, we have 395 numbered articles. Numbered articles means 1 2 3 4 so on and so forth till 395. Okay, but total number of articles is different. Approximately 470 articles are there. How many? 470. So these are numbered articles. Okay, but total number of articles is approximately 470. Okay, total number of articles ante you count, suppose you see article 19 is there, for example, which talk about certain freedoms. Okay, 19 class 1 subclass A, you understand, this is the article which talk about free speech and expression. But you understand, when you are counting the number of articles, you won't count clauses and subclasses. You simply count 19, 20, 21, so on and so forth. That is articles. How many articles? 395. If you count these clauses and subclasses, then you can call it as total number. How many? 470. Do you understand? Right. And Study, I mean, giving these articles just like that is not sufficient. We need to organize these articles into various parts and subparts. Parts and subparts. Likewise, in the original constitution, how many parts were there? 22 parts were there. How many? 22 parts. Okay, the total number of parts, the numbered parts in the constitution is 22. But the total number of parts is 25. How many? 25. Why this 25 is coming? When you are counting subparts, along with the parts, the total number of parts would be 25. Did you understand? See, this is how the constitution is organized. మనం అడుగుతాం కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ అంటే ఏంటంటే ఇట్స్ రూల్స్ అంటాం, ద రూల్స్ ఫ్రేమ్వర్క్ విచ్ విల్ హెల్ప్ ఇన్ ద గవర్నెన్స్ ఆఫ్ ది కంట్రీ. అర్థమవుతుందా? హూ ఈజ్ సుప్రీం హియర్? వెదర్ గవర్నమెంట్ ఈజ్ సుప్రీం? వెదర్ గవర్నమెంట్ ఈజ్ సుప్రీం? నో, గవర్నమెంట్ ఈజ్ నాట్ సుప్రీం. Who is supreme? Constitution is supreme. If government does anything wrong, we will show the condition or rule in which we where constitution. As far as this particular article is concerned, government's action is wrong. That's why in the constitution, in the country, there is supremacy of constitution. There is a supremacy of constitution, but not the supremacy of government. So that can be identified by means of studying these articles. Do you understand? And these articles to be referred easily, these are organized into parts and subparts. Is it clear? For example, Article 1 of the Constitution is there. First of all, the Constitution means what? Okay, the definition of the Constitution can be identified with a comprehensive definition. What is the definition? You know, Constitution is nothing but it is a supreme law of the land. What is it? I'll just explain you. What is Constitution? Constitution is nothing but it is a supreme law of the land. What is supreme law? Supreme means there is no other authority beyond this Constitution. Constitution is ultimate. Are you able to understand? Suppose there is a clash between Constitution and my religious principle. Into the Ayyappa Swami temple, women shall not be permitted. This is my religion. Okay, but Constitution says equality or inequality? Equality. Okay, then Supreme Court has given verdict that even into the Ayyappa Swami temple, even menstruating women are also permitted to enter. Okay, so when there is a clash between my religion and Constitution, which has prevailed? Constitution has prevailed. Did you understand? That's why Constitution is what? Supreme law. Is it clear? What is law? Law means it is a rules framework which is enforceable in character. If something is implementable, that is what called as law. When you are going on the road, if you don't wear a helmet, police officer will show the law, Motor Vehicles Act. Accordingly, you need to wear the helmet. If you don't wear the helmet, you need to pay the penalty. So in other words, the rule is enforceable or non-enforceable? Enforceable. Any rule which is enforceable, that is what called as law. So it is supreme law of the land. What is the supreme law of the land talks about? It explains what is it? Formation of the, what is it? State. Constitution explains the formation of the state. Okay, for example, you want this AC to be switched on. What do? You will just switch on the AC. If you want to switch off it, you can switch it off. If you want to change it, yes, you can change it. Similarly, state is also like that. Did you understand? Why state is there? Because society will be in the disorderliness unless the state is there. People have created this agency called as state by giving it powers. Powers. So we are in contract. What is that contract? We will accept the authority of the state. Limitedly or unlimitedly? Limitedly. To what extent the coordination is required in the society, to that extent the powers are permitted for the state. సొసైటీలో ఎంతవరకు కోఆర్డినేషన్ అవసరమో దానికి సంబంధించిన పవర్స్ మాత్రం ఎవరికి ఇస్తాం? స్టేట్కి ఇస్తాం. కెన్ ద స్టేట్ డిసైడ్ వెదర్ షుడ్ ఐ గెట్ మ్యారీడ్ ఆర్ నాట్? కెన్ ఇట్ డిసైడ్? ఇట్ కాంట్ డిసైడ్. ఇఫ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ హ్యావింగ్ నో పబ్లిక్ ఇంట్రెస్ట్, నో స్టేట్. Can the state decide whether should I be vegetarian or non-vegetarian? State cannot decide. It is my personal choice. So now tell me, state is having limited power or unlimited power? Limited power. Then who is creating that? Supreme law of the land. It is creating the state. Okay, it is explaining the formation of the state. And not only that, explaining the formation of the state, it is also explaining what is it? The relationship between people and state. The relationship between people and state. Relationship means what? What are the powers of the state? What are the rights of the people? To what extent the state has power? To what extent the rights the people are having? This relationship is explained in the form of constitution. In other words, constitution explains the do's on part of the state and don'ts on part of the state. Then what is state? State means what? State is not Telangana state or Tamil Nadu state. State is in the political science point of view, state is something which is an independent political system which is operational on a particular territory. State is nothing but it's a political structure. State is nothing but political structure. It is a political authority. Tell me whether India is state or not. Yes, state. Why? We have independent political authority. Whether Indian government will act according to the aspirations of the people or requirements of America. Aspirations of the people. So that's why there are 4 elements in the state. What are the 4 elements? Tell me. People. గురజాడ అప్పారావు అంటాడు తెలుసా? దేశం అంటే మట్టి కాదు, దేశం అంటే మనుషులు. ఫస్ట్ ఎవరు ఉండాలి? పీపుల్. ఓకే, అండ్ పీపుల్ తర్వాత ఏముండాలి? పీపుల్ ఎక్కడ ఉంటారు? టెరిటరీ. There must be some geographical territory where people are living. And thirdly, what is that? There must be government. It is a governance institution. It is to ensure the coordination among the people. And next, 4th one is sovereignty. This is what the elements of the state. These elements are created by which one? Constitution. Sovereignty means the ultimate power vested with the government. It can implement the law without any external or internal influences. Do you know? Daily you are able to see encounters with Naxalites. Have you seen? Why? ఎందుకు నక్సలైట్స్ ఎందుకు చంపుతున్నది గవర్నమెంట్? బికాస్ దే ఆర్ ఛాలెంజింగ్ వాట్? Sovereignty. They are interrupting. We are the powerful. They are declaring we don't follow your laws. Whether the state will stay quiet? No. It will eliminate those whoever challenges its authority. This is what called as ultimate power. This state is created by constitution. And at the same time, constitution also limits the powers of the state. Is it clear? Then. Sorry. సో ఒకసారి అన్నమాట ఒకసారి పిలువరా. Sorry for the interruption. Okay, right. So we were talking about amendments, right? After that, what is their basic structure doctrine? What is it? Basic structure. Did you understand? Suppose you want to make changes to your home. For example, internally you want to refurbish something. ఒకసారి PPT ఎలా ఉంది ఆల్రెడీ అది స్క్రీన్ ఇందాక పెట్టా అది మీకోసం. Okay, right. In order to make some changes in your home, for example, okay, what do? Will you break entire building and make the changes? What do? Will you remove? You will remove unnecessary structures. You will remove what is it? Unnecessary structures. You will make only superficial changes. You don't demolish the structure, right? Similarly, when the parliament is amending the constitution, what is to be respected? The basic framework is to be respected. The foundational values of the constitution must be respected. What is the foundational value? Tell me. What is the foundational value according to your understanding? Democracy. You can't reduce the democracy into dictatorship for your convenience. You can't change the power distribution in the constitution. You can't change the power distribution in the constitution. Did you understand? Constitution has various organs. Human body has only one organ, various organs. Various organs. All organs combine to give the shape of human being. And in the human body, there are important organs without which you can't expect the survival of human being. Tell me what are those? They will actually give the very, what is that, essentiality for the human life. What is it? Heart, kidney, liver and brain, without which you can't expect the human life to sustain. Similarly, if the state is to be functional, there are three important organs. What are those? Legislature, executive and judiciary. Legislature, executive and judiciary. Right? The role for executive, legislature and judiciary has been given by whom? Constitution. They are expected to function according to the requirements of the constitution. One organ cannot take away the functions of other organs. This is how we are going to study. What is that? Separation of powers between various organs. Suppose Parliament by means of amendment, it wants to take away the powers of judiciary and try to control that power. Tell me, is it right according to the constitution? No. Why it is violating which structure? What is it? Basic structure. We will be studying what is basic structure doctrine. Okay, and functions and responsibilities of union and states. We have governments at two levels, right? Of course, third level government is also there. Let us ignore the government for time being. Primarily, we have governments at two levels: union government and state government. Okay, the local government came into existence only after 1992. Before that, there was no local government sanctioned by the or guaranteed by the constitution. Yes. Local governments have been continued right from independence, but constitutional status has been given by 73rd and 74th Constitution Amendment Act. We will be discussing anyway. But you understand why constitution is given union government and state government? Why? What is the purpose? Purpose is what? Enduku rendu governments avasram oka government unte saripoda? Yes? Decentralization. Because single government cannot control everything. For the local needs, you can't depend upon central governments. So local needs can be taken care by state government. The national needs can be taken care by central government. That's how you are able to see the division of powers between central and states. Okay, that is seen in the form of this particular topic: functions and responsibilities of union and states. In this process, we will be understanding what is federalism. What is federalism? Are you able to understand? Suppose I would like to ask you whether the state government is subordinate to the central government. Did you understand my point? Whether whether the chief minister is subordinate to prime minister? No, because people elected the state government for the purpose of local needs. People elected the central government for the purpose of national needs. Both governments have been elected for different purposes. Are you able to understand? That's how you are able to see the division of powers between central and states. Who has divided this power? Constitution. Constitution has divided this power. So naturally we can say no government is supreme. Governments are supreme in their own matters. Whenever the question of law and order comes, who is supreme government? State government is supreme. When the question of defense comes, who is supreme? Central government is supreme. But these governments are required to exercise their powers within the limits of the constitution without violating the fundamental rights of the people. Is it clear? So that's how we are able to see functions and responsibilities of the union and states. Issues and challenging pertaining to federal structure. Issues and challenges. You are able to see in the recent times. Certain state governors are discharging their responsibilities in violation of constitution. Do you know? At least you might have gone through the paper. Tamil Nadu governor delays the assent over the bills. This news is very much popular these days, and Supreme Court has intervened to say that governors are constitutional functionaries. They cannot exercise the powers in the excess manner than it is granted by the constitution. Did you understand? Generally, who is a lawmaker? Legislature is a lawmaker. The legislature passes the bill. What is bill? It is a legislative proposal. That proposal is accepted by majority members in the legislature. Then it is forwarded to president or governor. At the union level, it is forwarded to president. At the state level, it is forwarded to governor. And president and governor play an important role. What is that role? Constitutional role. They are the defenders of the constitution. They are the preservers of the constitution. They require to preserve the public interest, public welfare. Did you understand? So they are the protectors of the constitution. So if the bill is against the constitutional values, if the bill is violating the constitution, definitely they have certain power to prevent that bill to become the law. అర్థమవుతుందా? ఆ బిల్లో అన్కాన్స్టిట్యూషనల్ ప్రొవిజన్స్ ఉన్నాయనుకోండి, గవర్నర్ ఏం చేయొచ్చు? బిల్ పైన అసెంట్ ఇవ్వకుండా ఆపేయచ్చు. When he denies the assent over the bill, definitely the bill will not become the law. So definitely whose interest is protected here? People's interest is protected. But that power must be exercised with due caution or not? Yes, caution is required. And you need to go according to the spirit of the constitution. But unfortunately, governors are not acting in the same manner. Since the governors are appointed by the central government, they are favoring which government? Central government. They are acting as the agents of central government, thus delaying the governance at the state level. They are interrupting the governance at the state level. So naturally, whether the balance of power that is envisaged by the constitution is it disturbed or not? It is disturbed. So that kind of issues we will be studying in the federal structure. So federalism means what? The sharing of powers between central and states, and every government has to function within the limits provided by the constitution. Okay, right. But unfortunately, Indian constitution is not only having federal features, it is also having unitary features, the centralizing features. Okay, why? Because Indian society is stable or unstable? Unstable, you don't know what happens in the next moment. So if you clearly divide the powers between central and states in the gas-tight, watertight compartments, you can't help the public interest. Are you able to understand? Suppose state does not care the lives of the people, whether the central government should be a mute spectator? No, central government should send the forces to set the things right in the state. So that's why there are certain centralizing features also. Because of the centralizing features, there are issues happening in the federal structure. So we will be studying later. So devolution of powers, finances up to local levels and challenges therein. So even local governments will be studied. Panchayat Raj system, urban local governments will be studied. We will be studying that. Okay. Did you understand? So why the creation of local government is required? Same decentralization principle. Why? Because power can be exercised effectively and efficiently when the power structures are located nearest to the people. అర్థమవుతుందా? మీ ఊళ్ళో వాటర్ రావట్లేదు, డిస్ట్రిక్ట్ కలెక్టర్ దగ్గరికి వెళ్తారా? వాటర్ కోసం ఎక్కడికి వెళ్ళాలి? పంచాయత్ ఆఫీస్కి. మీరు బ్రష్ చేసుకుంటూ కూడా పంచాయత్ ఆఫీస్కి వెళ్ళొచ్చు. And the power structure which is located in the nearest way, they can monitor the implementation of the policy effectively. There is a possibility of quick resolution of disputes, quick resolution of problems. That is only possible through centralization or decentralization? Decentralization. Okay, power is transferred to the lowest levels, local levels. So that's how you have created local governments. Okay, by means of constitutional amendments. So next, what we will be studying? Separation of powers between various organs and dispute resolution mechanisms. Separation of powers, I told you just now. Separation of powers means constitution has created various structures and various institutions, and every institution is given some set of functions and powers. For example, who will conduct the elections in the country? Election Commission of India. During the time of conducting elections, all the central and state government machineries will be under the control of Election Commission. Will they be listening to the words of the Prime Minister and Chief Minister? No. They will be under complete authority of Election Commission. What is that? Separation of powers. Every organ has to perform the functions within the designated sphere given by the Constitution. Legislature cannot become judiciary, judiciary cannot become legislature. So that is through separation of powers. Dispute redressal mechanisms. So in other words, we will be studying the checks and balances. How to ensure the organs to be performing the functions according to the scheme of the constitution. For example, if the law enacted by the legislature is against the fundamental rights, then who will come into the picture? Judiciary. Judiciary will conduct judicial review. What is it? Judicial review. It will scrutinize whether the law is consistent with the fundamental rights or not. If the law is inconsistent with the fundamental rights, the law will be declared to be valid or invalid? Invalid. So that's how we will be studying. And laws can be enacted by the legislature to overcome the wrong judgments. Judiciary is also prone to mistakes or not? Definitely yes. In that scenario, legislature can enact a law to overcome the law, to overcome the judgments given by the Supreme Court. That's how we can see the dispute resolution mechanisms and institutions. We have various institutions. For example, National Commission for SC, National Commission for BC, STs. Okay, likewise there are various institutions we will be studying. Okay, and comparison of Indian constitution scheme with that of other countries. You understand? We don't study the constitution in the isolation. We will be studying the constitution in the context of the global order. Why? Because we proudly claim Indian constitution has been sourced from almost 60 constitutions in the world. There is a criticism also. Indian constitution is what? Bundle of borrowed material. But then answer into Ambedkar ఇచ్చిన answer ఏంటి? What the answer given by Ambedkar? ఏమంటాడంటే, he proudly says we have ransacked all the better features of various constitutions. It is not a blind imitation. Rather, we have taken such provisions which are suitable to the Indian context. We have modified certain features also. For example, in the case of UK, who is supreme? No. Parliament is supreme. Who is supreme? Parliament is supreme. Especially in the parliament there are two houses. This is what called as bicameral legislature. What is it called as? Bicameral legislature. Okay. That is House of Commons and House of Lords. House of Commons and House of Lords. That is what called as bicameral. So which house is people's house there? House of Commons. In India, what is people's house? Lok Sabha is a people's house. Okay. Right. What is Council of States in India? Rajya Sabha. In UK, there is no Council of States because there is only one government. That is what called as unitary state. What is it? Unitary state. Okay. So hence there is House of Lords instead. ఏముంది అక్కడ? House of Lords ఉంది. మీరు చూడండి, House of Lords is not elected one. It is only nominated by the Crown. ఇక్కడ House of Commons ఎంత పవర్ఫుల్ అంటే, it can abolish not only the Crown, it can also abolish House of Lords. మీకు అర్థమవుతుందా? House of Commons can abolish Crown. Queen king ను కూడా పవర్ నుంచి ఊస్ చేయొచ్చు. And it can even completely abolish the House of Lords. అంటే ఎవరు సుప్రీం? House of Commons is supreme. Okay. మరి ఇండియాలో ఎవరు సుప్రీం? ఎవరు సుప్రీం? In India, who is supreme? Constitution is supreme. Lok Sabha cannot abolish Rajya Sabha. Lok Sabha cannot abolish President of India. Removal is different. Abolition is different. అసలు ఆ ఆఫీసే లేకుండా చేయడం ఏంటి? Abolition. Okay. So that's how we will be studying comparison with other constitutions. We will be studying how the federalism in the America is there, how the federalism in Canada is there, what is the power of executive in France, okay, how Indian system is different from that of those systems, what are the better features that are found in the other systems. We will be studying. దీనికి separate class ఉండదు. What do? We will compare as we pass through different topics. Fundamental rights వచ్చినప్పుడు we will be studying in the context of the American rights. Parliamentary form of democracy వచ్చినప్పుడు we will be comparing with UK and France. అర్థమవుతుందా? అట్లా మనం ప్రాపర్గా we can be studying in the systematic manner. My promise is this, ఏంటంటే మీరు క్లాస్ కరెక్ట్గా విన్నారంటే 90% of the examination demand will be satisfied. No faculty can assure this unless who has the confidence. అర్థమవుతుందా? You can also verify these facts with the previous students. మీరు ఒకసారి ఆ లైబ్రరీలో వెళ్ళిన స్టూడెంట్స్ని జస్ట్ చాటుగా అడగండి, whether the sir will deliver the promises or not. You just ask them, you just verify them. Okay, they will tell you. వాళ్ళ నోట్స్ చూడండి ఒకసారి, ఎంత కాంప్రహెన్సివ్గా ఉంటాయంటే అంత కాంప్రహెన్సివ్గా ఉంటుంది. ఎక్కడ కూడా స్టూడెంట్ విల్ నాట్ బీ ఫీలింగ్ హ్యాండిక్యాప్డ్. అరే నేను ఈ ఏరియా చదవలేదు, ఈ ఏరియా లేదు, సరే ఈ ఎగ్జామినేషన్ ఈ క్వశ్చన్ వస్తే దీనికి ఆన్సర్ లేదు అనేటువంటి క్వశ్చన్ అనేది ఉండదు. సో దట్ ఈస్ మై గ్యారంటీ. ఓకే రైట్. తర్వాత పార్లమెంట్ అండ్ స్టేట్ లెజిస్లేచర్స్, స్ట్రక్చర్స్, ఫంక్షనింగ్, కండక్ట్ ఆఫ్ బిజినెస్, పవర్స్ అండ్ ప్రివిలేజెస్, ఇష్యూస్ అరైజింగ్ అవుట్ ఆఫ్ దిస్. అయితే ఇక్కడ చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్ పాయింట్ మనం అబ్జర్వ్ చేయాల్సింది ఏంటంటే, సో I shall write on the board or so let us understand what is constitution, what is polity. ఇప్పుడు మనం పేపర్ 2లో చదివేది ఏంటి, ఇక్కడ సిలబస్లో ఏమి ఇచ్చాడు, వాట్ ఈస్ గివెన్, కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ ఈస్ గివెన్ అండ్ వాట్ ఎల్స్ ఈస్ గివెన్, పాలిటీ ఈస్ గివెన్. ఏంటి మరి కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ అంటే ఏంటి, పాలిటీ అంటే ఏంటి, వాట్ ఈస్ ద డిఫరెన్స్? అర్థమవుతుందా? కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ అంటే ఏంటి, పాలిటీ అంటే ఏంటి, రైట్. వాట్ ఈస్ కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్? ఇట్ ఈస్ రూల్స్ ఫ్రేమ్వర్క్. Constitution is also something which is a, what is it? Prescription. Constitution is nothing but it is a set of, what is it? Ideals. ఆదర్శాలు ఉంటాయి కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్లో. ఇప్పుడు ప్రియాంబుల్లో చూస్తే ఫ్రాటర్నిటీ అని ఉంటుంది. వాట్ ఈస్ ఇట్? ఫ్రాటర్నిటీ. వాట్ ఈస్ ఫ్రాటర్నిటీ? సెన్స్ ఆఫ్ బ్రదర్హుడ్ అమాంగ్ ది పీపుల్. నవ్వు చెప్పండి, ఇప్పుడు రోజు ఏదో దగ్గర ఫైటింగ్ జరుగుతూనే ఉంటుంది. In the name of religion, in the name of caste, okay, people will fight with each other. మరి ఇండియన్ కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ ఉన్న ఐడియల్స్ నిజంగా రియాలిటీలో ఉన్నాయా? ఉండొచ్చు, ఉండకపోవచ్చు. సో కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ ఈజ్ నథింగ్ బట్ సెట్ ఆఫ్ ఐడియల్స్. కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ ఈజ్ నథింగ్ బట్ ప్రిస్క్రిప్షన్. విచ్ ఆర్గాన్ హ్యాస్ టు డూ వాట్, వాట్ ఆర్ ద రైట్స్ ఆఫ్ ది పీపుల్, వాట్ ఆర్ ద ఫంక్షన్స్ ఆఫ్ గవర్నమెంట్. దిస్ ఈజ్ ఆల్ given in the form of blueprint. That's why it is called as prescription. Okay, right. But the polity is something which helps in the understanding of the practical functioning of Indian state. How Indian political system, how Indian political system operates in reality. That is what called as polity. How the country is governed, that is explained in the form of polity. Okay, so that's why polity is nothing but prescription or description. It is nothing but description. So practically you will see how the institutions actually function, how the institutions actually function. For example, constitution says the role of judiciary. What is the role of judiciary? Cheppandi, judiciary em pani cheyali? Dispute resolution. What is it? Dispute resolution is the major functioning of judiciary. Not only dispute resolution, protection of the fundamental rights of the people. Suppose if the police arrest you without any reason, you don't require to go to the local court, you can directly go to the Supreme Court. That is what called as habeas corpus. What is it? Habeas corpus. Under article, which article of the constitution? Article 32 of the constitution. Is it clear? So that's why protection of the rights and protection of the constitution itself. Protection of the constitution itself. Protection of the rule of law. Protection of the rule of law. So every institution has to work according to law of the land. Police, if some police has to arrest some person, that must be according to the law of the land. For example, Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Samhita, we can say it is CRPC. The police investigation has to take place only according to CRPC. Police, the judiciary can award the punishment according to Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita. That is what called as rule of law. What is it called as? Rule of law. Suppose if there is a fake encounter, whether the Supreme Court would tolerate? No. Supreme Court has given guidelines that in any case police fake encounter happens, the officer who is in charge must be booked with a murder case. What is that? Murder case must be booked against that officer. Before the completion of the investigation and trial, the officer shall not be given promotion, the officer shall not be given rewards. Tell me, what is that? Rule of law. అర్థమవుతుందా? దిస్ ఈస్ ద ఫంక్షన్ గివెన్ బై ద కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్. బట్ రియాలిటీలో ఎలా ఉంది జుడిషియరీ? వెదర్ ఈజ్ ఇట్ ఫంక్షనింగ్ విత్ ఇన్ ద లిమిట్స్? నో, ఇట్ ఈస్ గోయింగ్ అవుట్ ఆఫ్ ద లిమిట్స్. దట్ కాన్సెప్ట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ as judicial activism. What is that? Judicial activism and judicial overreach. Judicial activism and judicial overreach. అర్థమవుతుందా? మీరు రోడ్ మీద వెళ్తున్నారు, రోడ్ పక్కకు చాలా స్టింకింగ్ స్మెల్ వస్తుంటుంది, గార్బేజ్ సరిగా క్లియర్ చేయట్లేదు. ఓకే, వర్షం పడితే సిటీలో లోయెస్ట్ ప్లేసెస్ అన్నీ కూడా మునిగిపోతున్నాయి. ఎవరు సరిగా పనిచేయట్లేదు అన్నట్టు? ఎవరు పనిచేయట్లేదు? గవర్నమెంట్ ఈజ్ నాట్ ఫంక్షనింగ్ ప్రాపర్లీ. ఓకే, గవర్నమెంట్ తన పని చూసుకోవాలి. లెజిస్లేచర్ లా మేకింగ్ చేయాలి. అండ్ ఇట్ కెన్ ఆల్సో క్వశ్చన్ ద గవర్నమెంట్. జుడిషియరీ హ్యాస్ టు పర్ఫార్మ్ ఇట్స్ ఓన్ కోర్ జుడిషియల్ ఫంక్షన్స్. But what is happening? Judiciary nowadays, it is directing the government what it is supposed to do. What it is supposed to do. అర్థమవుతుందా? What is separation of powers? Every organ has to function within the limits provided by the constitution. But judiciary is going beyond its traditional limits and entering into the whose sphere? Into the sphere of legislature, into the sphere of executive. మొన్న సుప్రీంకోర్టు చెప్పింది గవర్నర్కి ఏమని, when the bill is transmitted by the state legislative assembly, within 1 month you need to return the bill if you don't like. Within 3 months the president has to clear the state bills. ఈ టైం ఎవరు ఇంపోజ్ చేస్తున్నారు? సుప్రీంకోర్టు ఇంపోజ్ చేస్తుంది. మరి సుప్రీంకోర్టు ఇంపోజ్ చేయాలని రాజ్యాంగంలో ఉందా? There is no such power given to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court is taking the power by itself. That is what called as judicial activism. Where do you study? In the constitution do you find the term judicial activism? No. Where do you observe? Polity. అర్థమవుతుందా? అంటే polity is the one which try to showcase the dynamics of power in the society. What is it? Dynamics of power in the society. అంటే కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్లో ఏదైతే ఐడియల్స్ ఉంటాయో అవి ప్రాక్టికల్గా ఎలా వర్క్ అవుతుంది అని చదివేది ఎక్కడ? Polity. So it studies the dynamics of power. Did you understand? For example, do you know planning commission? ఎప్పుడైనా విన్నారా ప్లానింగ్ కమిషన్ ఒక బాడీ ఉంటుందని? You might have heard in your childhood days at least, planning commission. Do you know how powerful the planning commission was? Planning commission is generally, it's a planning body for entire country. It used to be chaired by Prime Minister. The deputy chairperson was there. Generally, deputy chairperson will be taking care of all the functions of planning commission. Why? Because Prime Minister is preoccupied with many other responsibilities. Then the deputy chairperson of planning commission used to make the chief minister to wait for his appointment. అర్థమవుతుందా? డిప్యూటీ చైర్పర్సన్ ఆఫ్ ప్లానింగ్ కమిషన్ ఏం చేసేవాడు? చీఫ్ మినిస్టర్స్కి అపాయింట్మెంట్స్ ఇచ్చేవాడు. అండ్ ద చీఫ్ మినిస్టర్ యూస్ టు సిట్ అండ్ వెయిట్ ఫర్ డిప్యూటీ చైర్పర్సన్ ఆఫ్ ప్లానింగ్ కమిషన్. టెల్ మీ, ఈజ్ ఏ కాన్స్టిట్యూషనల్ బాడీ? ఈజ్ ఏ కాన్స్టిట్యూషనల్ బాడీ? హీ ఈజ్ నాట్ ఏ కాన్స్టిట్యూషనల్ బాడీ. ద ప్లానింగ్ కమిషన్ ఈజ్ నాట్ మెన్షన్డ్ ఇన్ ద constitution, but still he is wielding power with respect to the states. Ante idi whether this topic is covered under constitution or polity. Ardhamavutunda? Election commission, is it mentioned in the constitution? Yes. Finance commission? Yes. But national human rights commission? No. It is mentioned in a statute, so it is a part of polity. So polity deals with the dynamics of power. The polity explains the actual functioning of political system. The polity explains how the constitution is run, how the constitution is implemented. That activity is explained by polity. Did you understand? Suppose you understand. In the parliament, see what kind of democracy we have adapted. Just now I told you, parliamentary form of democracy. What is parliamentary form of democracy? Is it direct democracy or indirect democracy? Indirect democracy. మీరు అందరూ ఓట్లు వేశారు మొన్నటి ఎలక్షన్లో. హ్యావ్ యూ ఎనీబడి కాస్టెడ్ ఓట్? ఐఎమ్ నాట్ ఆస్కింగ్ యూ ద పార్టీ ఆఫ్ యువర్ చాయిస్. వెదర్ ఈస్ దర్ ఎనీ ఆప్షన్ ఫర్ ప్రైమ్ మినిస్టర్? ఈ ఓటు ప్రైమ్ మినిస్టర్కి, ఈ ఓటు చీఫ్ మినిస్టర్కి అని ఉందా? లేదు. ఎవరి కోసం ఉంది? యువర్ ఎంపీ అండ్ యువర్ ఎమ్మెల్యే. యూ ఎలెక్ట్ యువర్ ఎమ్మెల్యేస్, దట్ ఎమ్మెల్యేస్ విల్ బీ హెల్పింగ్ ఇన్ ద ఫార్మేషన్ ఆఫ్ గవర్నమెంట్ ఎట్ ద స్టేట్ లెవెల్. MPs, if you elect, the majority party in the Lok Sabha will be forming the government at the union level. So tell me, is it direct democracy or indirect democracy? Indirect democracy. Okay? And it means whether the people have the power to remove the government from power directly? No. Directly you can't do that. Who can do? Lok Sabha MPs. Who can do at the state level? State Legislative Assembly. So the government is not directly monitored by the people. Government is not directly removed by the people. Government is not directly formed by the people. That's why it is called as indirect democracy. అర్థమవుతుందా? ఇది పరోక్ష ప్రజాస్వామ్యం, ఇది ప్రత్యక్ష ప్రజాస్వామ్యం కాదు. అర్థమవుతుందా? మరి in this process the elected government is accountable and answerable to whom? Lok Sabha. Union level ఎవరికి answerable? లోక్ సభ. ఇప్పుడు ఎగ్జాంపుల్ చూడండి, ప్రైమ్ మినిస్టర్ లోక్సభ సెషన్స్, రాజ్యసభ సెషన్స్ జరుగుతున్నాయి అనుకోండి. వేర్ డూ యూ సీ ద ప్రైమ్ మినిస్టర్ సిట్టింగ్ ఇన్? లోక్సభ, రాజ్యసభ? లోక్సభ. రాజ్యసభ సభ్యులు అంటారు అప్పుడప్పుడు, వై వీఆర్ నాట్ ఏబుల్ టు సీ ప్రైమ్ మినిస్టర్ అని అడుగుతారు. ఎందుకు మరి ప్రైమ్ మినిస్టర్కి ఎందుకంత ప్రేమ లోక్సభ పైన? బికాస్ గవర్నమెంట్ డిపెండ్స్ అపాన్ ద మెజారిటీ ఇన్ లోక్సభ. అండ్ ఈవెన్ ద కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ అకార్డింగ్ టు ఆర్టికల్ 75 clause 3 ఆఫ్ ది కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ ఏం చెప్తుంది తెలుసా? Prime Minister and Council of Ministers are collectively responsible to which house? Lok Sabha. అంటే ఎవరికి జవాబుదారీ? Prime Minister and Council of Ministers are answerable to Lok Sabha. Whatever the commissions, omissions, anything, it is to be assessed. Who can do? Lok Sabha. Okay, in other words, who is subordinate, who is superior? Lok Sabha is superior, government is subordinate. కానీ రియాలిటీలో ఏం కనిపిస్తుంది? Who appears to be superior? Government appears to be superior. Why? There is a decline of legislature. Whether the legislature is able to question the government blatantly? No. ఇప్పుడు ఏదైనా ఒక మెంబర్ అమిత్ షాని నరేంద్ర మోడీని ఎదిరించి మాట్లాడడం చూసారా? అదంతెందుకు, ఐ థింక్ యూ బోత్ ఆర్, ఆల్ ఆఫ్ యూ ఫ్రమ్ తెలుగు స్టేట్స్ ఓన్లీ, రైట్? అసెంబ్లీ సెషన్స్ ఎప్పుడైనా చూసారా? రూలింగ్ పార్టీ ఎమ్మెల్యేస్ ఏ రోజు కూడా గవర్నమెంట్కి అగెన్స్ట్గా మాట్లాడరు. గమనించారు మీరు? ఇప్పుడు సపోజ్ టీడీపీ ఎమ్మెల్యేస్ ఆర్ దేర్ ఆర్ హియర్ కాంగ్రెస్ ఎమ్మెల్యేస్ ఆర్ దేర్, కెన్ దే ఛాలెంజ్ ద పవర్ ఆఫ్ ది గవర్నమెంట్? కెన్ దే క్రిటిసైజ్ ద హెడ్స్ ఆఫ్ ది గవర్నమెంట్ లైక్ చంద్రబాబు నాయుడు అండ్ రేవంత్ రెడ్డి హియర్? చేయగలుగుతారా? చేయలేరు. అంటే రియాలిటీ ఏంటి? రియాలిటీ ఈజ్ లెజిస్లేచర్ ఈజ్ నాట్ ట్రూలీ independent. Legislature has many challenges. Legislature has many challenges. So in other words, there is a decline of legislature. Legislature is not able to hold the government answerable. So naturally democracy is failed or successful? Failed. That is failure of democracy. మనం పంపించిన రిప్రజెంటేటివ్స్ వాళ్ళు చేయాల్సిన పనులు చేయట్లేదంటే ఏంటి? Is it success or failure? Failure. That is what called as decline of parliament, decline of legislature. Where we will study? Polity. అర్థమవుతుందా? దట్స్ హౌ వీఆర్ ఏబుల్ టు డిఫరెన్షియేట్ దీస్ థింగ్స్. అందుకనే సింపుల్గా చూడండి, ఎగ్జామినేషన్లో క్వశ్చన్ వస్తే, ఇప్పుడు పార్లమెంటరీ ఫార్మ్ ఆఫ్ డెమోక్రసీ మీద క్వశ్చన్ వస్తే అడిగేది ఏంటి? ఛాలెంజెస్ ఏంటని అడుగుతాడు, సొల్యూషన్స్ ఏంటని అడుగుతాడు. సింపుల్. ద క్వశ్చన్స్ విల్ ఆల్వేస్ బీ ఇన్ ద అప్లికేషన్ మేనర్. ఇప్పుడు సుప్రీంకోర్టు మొన్న వర్డిక్ట్ ఇచ్చింది. ఓకే, ద యూపీఎస్సీ మే బీ ఫ్రేమింగ్ ద క్వశ్చన్ ఇన్ దిస్ వే, వెదర్ ద జుడిషియల్ యాక్టివిజం ఈజ్ టర్నింగ్ ఇన్ టు జుడిషియల్ ఓవర్ రీచ్. Whether the judicial activism is turning into judicial overreach. ఇక్కడ మనకు తెలియాల్సింది ఏంటి? వాట్ ఈజ్ యాక్టివిజం, వాట్ ఈజ్ ఓవర్రీచ్. వాట్ ఈజ్ యాక్టివిజం? యాక్టివిజం మీన్స్ వాలంటరీ అండ్ పాజిటివ్ అండ్ ప్రొయాక్టివ్ యాక్షన్ ఆఫ్ ది జుడిషియరీ టు అప్హోల్డ్ ద కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ అండ్ అప్హోల్డ్ ద రైట్స్ ఆఫ్ ది పీపుల్ అండ్ ఫోర్సింగ్ ద అదర్ ఆర్గన్స్ టు పర్ఫార్మ్ దేర్ కాన్స్టిట్యూషనల్ ఫంక్షన్. దట్ ఈస్ వాట్ కాల్డ్ as activism. Whereas overreach means the judiciary violates the separation of powers, the judiciary interferes into the functioning of other organs of the state. That is what called as overreach. Edi positive, edi negative? Activism is positive, overreach is negative. We will be studying that. అర్థమవుతుందా? ఆస్ట్రేలియాలో రేసిస్ట్ అటాక్స్ జరుగుతుంటే సుప్రీంకోర్టు ఆ విషయాన్ని పిటిషన్ రూపంలో తీసుకుని ఏం చెప్పిందంటే, ఇట్ హస్ డైరెక్టెడ్ ద గవర్నమెంట్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా టు రీకాల్ ఇండియన్ క్రికెట్ టీమ్ విచ్ వాస్ టూరింగ్ ఇన్ ఆస్ట్రేలియా. టెల్ మీ, ఈజ్ ఇట్ యాక్టివిజం ఆర్ ఓవర్ రీచ్? ఓవర్ రీచ్. డిప్లొమసీ అంటే 3x2=6 అనే టైప్లో మాట్లాడుకోరు. మీరు గమనించారా? హ్యావ్ యూ సీన్ ద వర్డ్స్ ఆఫ్ డిప్లొమాట్స్? ఏం అర్థం కావు మనకి. అర్థమవుతుందా? దే విల్ బీ స్పీకింగ్ ఇన్ దట్ లాంగ్వేజ్. అంటే డిప్లొమసీ రిక్వైర్స్ ఎ స్పెషలైజ్డ్ స్కిల్ సెట్. ద జ్యుడిషియల్ స్కిల్స్ ఆర్ నాట్ సఫిషియంట్ టు నెగోషియేట్ విత్ ద ఫారిన్ స్టేట్. దానికంటూ ఒక సెపరేట్ మినిస్ట్రీ ఉంటుంది, మినిస్ట్రీ ఆఫ్ ఎక్స్టర్నల్ అఫేర్స్. అంటే ఇప్పుడు సుప్రీంకోర్టు ఇంటర్ఫియర్ అయినట్ట, ఇంటర్జెక్ట్ అయినట్ట? ఇంటర్ఫియర్ అయినట్టు. ఈజ్ ఇట్ నెగటివ్ యాక్షన్ ఆర్ పాజిటివ్ యాక్షన్? నెగటివ్ యాక్షన్. అర్థమవుతుందా? సుప్రీంకోర్టు డిక్లేర్స్ రైట్ టు ప్రైవసీ ఈజ్ అ పార్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఫండమెంటల్ రైట్స్. ఈజ్ ఇట్ పాజిటివ్ ఆర్ నెగటివ్? పాజిటివ్. ఓకే, సో వీ విల్ బి డిఫరెన్షియేటింగ్. అంటే క్వశ్చన్స్ అలా వస్తాయి. అంటే మన ప్రిపరేషన్ కూడా ఎంత నీట్గా ఉండాలంటే ఎగ్జామినేషన్ డిమాండ్ని అర్థం చేసుకొని వీ హ్యావ్ టు అండర్స్టాండ్ ద సబ్జెక్ట్, వీ నీడ్ టు ప్రిపేర్ ద నోట్స్, వీ నీడ్ టు రైట్ ఎగ్జామినేషన్స్. దట్స్ హౌ యూ కెన్ క్లియర్ ద ఎగ్జామినేషన్. డిడ్ యూ అండర్స్టాండ్? రైట్. తర్వాత చూడండి ఇంకేముంది, స్ట్రక్చర్ అండ్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్స్ ఆఫ్ ఫంక్షనింగ్ ఆఫ్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ అండ్ జుడిషియరీ. రైట్. సో హౌ ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ ఇస్ ఆర్గనైజ్డ్, హౌ జుడిషియరీ ఇస్ ఆర్గనైజ్డ్, దట్ విల్ బి స్టడీడ్ హియర్. రైట్. సో గవర్నమెంట్ అంటే ఏంటి? ఇట్ ఈస్, టెల్ మీ వాట్ ఈస్ దేర్, సపోజ్ ఇఫ్ ఐ ఆస్క్ యూ వాట్ ఈస్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్? ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ అంటే ఏంటి? ఇట్ ఈస్ ఏజెన్సీ రెస్పాన్సిబుల్ ఫర్ ఇంప్లిమెంటేషన్ ఆఫ్ ది లాస్. ఎస్ ఆర్ నో? మరి ఇంప్లిమెంట్ చేయడానికి 2 రకాల ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్స్ ఉంటారు. ఎవరెవరు? పొలిటికల్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ అండ్ పర్మనెంట్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్. అర్థమవుతుందా? ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ హ్యాస్ executive has 2 agencies. One is Political executive, and what is it? Permanent executive. Who is political executive? Tell me. Ever cheppandi? President, Vice President, Prime Minister and Council of Ministers, plus what is it? Attorney General. This is what executive. Okay? వీళ్ళు ఏం చేస్తారు? They will be just making the political decisions. But implementation అంతే ఎవరిది? Permanent executives. Who are the permanent executives? IAS, IPS officers, any public functionary is what? Permanent executive. Political executive is elected by means of election. These are selected through recruitment examination. Okay. Who has the better skills in the policy implementation? Permanent executive. Who has the skills in the policy making? Political executive. Who has the public opinion? Political executive. Who has the knowledge about the implementation of law? Permanent executive. So this permanent executive is organized in the form of ministries and departments. Ministries and departments. We will be studying what is central secretariat, what is state secretariat, what is the institutional setup, what is the instrumentality, what is hierarchy, okay, how the things are done by the government. We will be studying as a part of this particular topic. Right. Then salient features of, tell me, so next pressure groups, formal, informal groups in the polity. For example, this is where we need to understand the differences between polity, constitution and governance. What is governance? Tell me. Governance. Have you ever heard this term? Governance ante ఎప్పుడైనా వర్డ్ విన్నారా ఇది? Governance అంటే ఏంటి? తెలుగులో పరిపాలన అంటాం. How a country is administered. How a country is administered. That is what called as governance. Okay. Now tell me, you are able to see nowadays who maintains this railway, metro rail line? LNT. Who maintains this airport, international airport? GMR. Who maintains the outer ring road? Some private sector. Who distribute 5 rupees meal in Hyderabad? No. Hyderabad. There is Hare Krishna Foundation. Hare Krishna Akshay Patra Foundation that distributes the free 5 rupees meal in Hyderabad. You understand? Who has to perform these functions, ideally speaking? Who has to perform? Government has to perform. But who is performing? Private sector and market is performing. Did you understand? In other words, after 1991, we are able to see radical reforms in the functioning of the government. Previously, government was doing everything on its own. Government was enjoying monopoly status. Government was enjoying monopoly status. If government enjoys monopoly status, will it be leading to scarcity or sufficiency? Scarcity. Why? Because it will be breeding corruption, breeding inefficiency. That's why government has opened up after 1991 economic reforms, where even the private sector, market is coming along with the government. Market is coming along with the government. That particular process of governing the society is called as governance. Is it clear? So governance requires not the monopolistic action of the government, rather the collaboration from other actors. Suppose you just see, this is a boat. Boat has steering. Who will be in the steering function? Who is that? Government. Who will be rowing the boat? Rowing means propelling the boat forward. That is private sector, market, you can say. NGOs, we can say cooperatives, self-help groups. These are all the agencies come and assist the government. This process of maintaining resources in the society with the collaboration of all these actors is called as governance. Did you understand? So that's why policy making is not falling under the exclusive domain of the government. The government has to consult other actors in the society in order to make the policies. Ardhamatunda? Suppose if the government wants to bring an industrial policy, government will be consulting with labor unions, worker unions and also entrepreneurs. Ardhamatunda? So this one we will be studying in the form of okay, what is it? So here, what is it? Pressure groups, formal and informal associations role in the polity, that we will be studying. NGOs means what? charitable organizations means what? We'll be studying all these agencies. Pressure groups. Pressure groups means caste unions and associations. For example, Kapu movement in Andhra Pradesh, Maratha movement in Maharashtra, Patel movement, Patidar agitation in Gujarat, Jat movement in North India. This has made the government to bring which Amendment Act? 103rd Constitution Amendment Act, which has led to EWS reservations. Did you understand? The pressure groups will be mounting the pressure on the government. For example, farmers associations, they have mounted the pressure on the government to withdraw the farm laws. I think it might be there in your memory. Recent times there is a huge agitations from the farmers. They have agitated against the laws that was brought by the central government. They felt these are against the farmers' interest. So eventually government was forced to withdraw these laws. Because of which movements? Pressure groups movements. So we will be studying how the government will be functioning and how pressure groups will be functioning. And next one, appointment of various constitutional posts. See, this is the next one. Salient features of representation of peoples. Every year, one question can be expected from this area. Representation of People's Act. I told you already, whether the Constitution provides everything? No. Constitution does not provide everything. If the Constitution has to provide everything, two things, it will be a logistical nightmare. We can't imagine, because politicians will not be able to anticipate the future. అర్థమవుతుందా? ఇప్పుడు బెట్టింగ్ ప్రాబ్లం ఉందనుకోండి, బెట్టింగ్ ప్రాబ్లం వస్తుందని కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ రాసేటప్పుడు ఊహిస్తారా? ఏమన్నా బ్రహ్మంగారు లాగా ఊహిస్తారా ఫ్యూచర్లో ఇది జరగబోతుందని? యూ కాంట్ యాంటిసిపేట్, రైట్? యూ నీడ్ టు రెస్పాండ్ టు ద సిచ్యువేషన్. దట్ పవర్ ఈస్ గివెన్ టు institutions. Legislature is there, judiciary is there, and executive is also there. Did you understand? Okay, so for that reason constitution cannot be able to provide everything. Even constitution did not provide how elections are conducted. Ardhamatunda? Constitution establishes democracy, but constitution does not provide details of election. Who has provided the details of election? Representation of People's Act. For example, I told you already articles. Articles means these are provisions in the Constitution. One of such provisions, if you try to see, Article 324 of the Constitution, which says Election Commission will conduct the elections, control the elections, and superintend the election. Tell me, using these three words, can you see the exact machinery or exact process during the conduct of elections? You can't. That's the reason why Article 327 of the Constitution has empowered the Parliament to bring which Act? Representation of People's Act. The Representation of People's Acts, there are two acts we will be studying. RPA 1950, RPA 1951. RPA 1950 talks about structural aspects of election. What is it? Structural aspects. First election జరగాలంటే ఏముండాలి? Constituencies ఉండాలి, voter list ఉండాలి, and voters should be having the clear criteria. What is the eligibility to cast in the elections? Those are given in the form of RPA 1950. బిల్డింగ్ ఉండాలంటే ఫస్ట్ బ్రిక్స్, బార్స్, ఐరన్ బార్స్ ఇవన్నీ ఉండాలి కదా. దట్ రిక్వైర్మెంట్ ఈస్ రిఫ్లెక్టెడ్ ఇన్ ద ఫార్మ్ ఆఫ్ RPA 1950. అండ్ హౌ ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ ద ఎలక్షన్స్ ఆర్ ఆర్గనైజ్డ్ అండ్ కండక్టెడ్, దట్ ఈస్ గివెన్ ఇన్ ద ఫార్మ్ ఆఫ్ RPA 1951. RPA 1950 talk about qualifications and disqualification of the voters. 1951 talks about qualification and disqualification of public representatives. RPA 1951 talks about the machinery in the election process. మీరు వినుండొచ్చు, ప్రిసైడింగ్ ఆఫీసర్, రిటర్నింగ్ ఆఫీసర్. ఓకే, those officers are mentioned which act? RPA 1951. Recently you might also heard about Rahul Gandhi, who got disqualified with his membership in the Lok Sabha upon conviction in the offence related to defamation. ఆ తర్వాత అఫ్కోర్స్ సుప్రీంకోర్ట్ హెస్ రివర్స్ ద వర్డిక్ట్, వేరే విషయం. కానీ మొత్తానికి అయితే విన్నరా, రాహుల్ గాంధీ లాస్ హిస్ మెంబర్షిప్ ఇన్ ద లోక్ సభ. విచ్ యాక్ట్ డీల్స్ విత్ దట్? RPA 1951. సో దిస్ ఈస్ ద బ్యాక్ బోన్ ఫర్ ద ఇండియన్ డెమోక్రసీ. డైరెక్ట్గా అడుగుతాడు, RPA 1951 యాక్ట్స్ as a బ్యాక్ బోన్ ఫర్ ఇండియన్ డెమోక్రసీ, అనలైజ్ అని అడుగుతాడు. సో యూ కెన్ రైట్ ద ఆన్సర్ ఓన్లీ వెన్ యూ నో ద డీటెయిల్స్ అబౌట్ వాట్ ఆర్ ద ప్రొవిజన్స్ ఇన్ ద RPA 1951. Next one, appointment to various constitutional posts, powers, functions and responsibilities of various constitutional bodies. Constitution I told you, constitution is not just about legislature, executive and judiciary. There are other organs which come into the picture. అర్థమవుతుందా? ఇండియన్ డెమోక్రసీ ఈ రోజు ఇలా నిలబడిందంటే it is not just due to legislature, executive and judiciary. There are three other organs which are very much functioning. What are the three other organs? Tell me. Like, there are three other organs. These include, what is it? CAG. CAG ante Comptroller and Auditor General of India. Second one, ECI, Election Commission of India. Third one is what is that? Public Service Commissions like UPSC and SPS. This will produce government. Yes or no? By conducting elections. This will produce officers, the personnel, the permanent executive. Okay? Right. What is CAG? CAG is a watchdog for the public purse. CAG is a watchdog for the public purse. Okay, I think you might have come across budget, the term budget every year, right? What is budget? Budget is nothing but the financial statement that is authorized by the Lok Sabha and Lok Sabha especially. Which house? Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha is a people's house or not? People's house. It is elected by the people directly. So who has the powers with respect to enactment of the budget? Lok Sabha. It means government goes to the Lok Sabha, sir, this year we are going to spend money accordingly. This is our priority. This is our allocation. Please give authorization. What is the Lok Sabha? What is the status of Lok Sabha to authorize? Because Lok Sabha is a representative of the people. On behalf of the people, who will authorize the budget? Lok Sabha authorizes the budget. Okay, what is the tune of the budget? What is the scale of the budget? Approximately 40 lakh crore at the union level. In the 40 lakh crore. According to Article 75, Class 3 of the Constitution, who is answerable to whom? Government is answerable to Lok Sabha. But tell me whether Lok Sabha MPs are that much educated or that much technically experts to scrutinize whether the government is spending money according to the statement that is provided? No, because the finances are too much huge. So for that reason, you require to have an expert agency called as COG. Whether this COG is dependent or independent? Independent of the government. It can independently scrutinize whether the expenditure is properly made or not. What is given in the budget? What is spent? In the budget, if it is allocated 80,000 crores, for example, the spending must also be 80,000 crores. It must not be excess of the amount which is allocated in the budget. That's why he is called as watchdog of the public purse. So he will be assisting which agency? Parliament, to question the government. Okay, Election Commission. So that's why it is watchdog of the public purse. CAG is the watchdog of the public purse. Election Commission is the watchdog of the merit, watchdog of the elections, democracy, watchdog of the democracy. Did you understand? Have you ever heard model code of conduct during the elections? Election Commission strictly monitors the model code of conduct, which is equally applicable to both ruling party and opposition party. Ruling party na opposition party అనేటువంటి differences election commission కు ఉండవు. It will be treating everybody equal. It gives fair opportunity for every party to win in the election or defeat in the election. Who is that? Election Commission. So it safeguards the democracy. That's why it is called as watchdog of the democracy. Then who safeguards the merit? Public Service Commission. Meritocracy leading to protection of the democracy. Suppose if you are recruited out of some political affiliation, what you will do? You will try to do favors for the political party which favored your appointment. So tell me, is it good for the rule of law? It is not at all good for the rule of law. Hence, you need to safeguard the merit. So meritocracy is protected. So all these institutions eventually are functioning in the direction of preservation and protection of the democracy in the country. Financial accountability, important ingredient of the democracy. Yes or no? Elections are also important ingredients of democracy. Similarly, meritocracy is also important ingredients of the democracy. So we will be studying all these constitutional bodies. Not only these three institutions, we will be studying Finance Commission, its role in the federal relations, financial relations. Okay, we will be studying Attorney General. We will be studying National Commission for SC, ST, OBC. Every syllabus component will be touched in the classes. No topic will be ignored. every topic will be dutifully covered. Okay, right. Next, statutory, regulatory, and what is that? Quasi judicial bodies. What is statute? Statute and enti? The law enacted by legislature is called as statute. అర్థమవుతుంది. నేను క్లాస్లో చాలా ఫైన్గా చెప్తా. యాక్చువల్గా లా అనేటువంటి టర్మ్ ఉంటుంది చూసారా, లా, ద టర్మ్ లా. ఈజ్ ఇట్ జెనరిక్ ఆర్ పర్టికులర్? జెనరిక్. ఇప్పుడు ఎగ్జాంపుల్ చూడండి, ఆర్టికల్ 13 క్లాస్ 3 ఆఫ్ ది కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ సేస్ లా మీన్స్ రూల్స్, రెగ్యులేషన్స్, నోటిఫికేషన్స్, ఆర్డర్స్, బైలాస్, కస్టమ్స్, స్టాట్యూట్స్. సో ఇలా చాలా ఎక్స్ప్రెషన్స్ ఉంటాయి. అంటే లా అంటే ఏంటి? ఇట్ ఇంక్లూడ్స్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్ దట్ ఈస్ డన్ బై ద government. It includes everything done by the government. Even Supreme Court judgments are also having the legal force. Suppose Supreme Court says no for something, should it be followed or denied? It should be followed. If suppose High Court gives an order to the public servant, it shall be equated with law. If you defy the order of the High Court or Supreme Court, it ends up in contempt proceedings. What is invoked? Contempt of the court. What is it? Contempt of the court. If you are following the newspaper in the recent times, Sirisilla collector in Telangana state has been summoned by High Court. Collector was made to stand in the court hall like accused for 3-4 hours. High Court has posed very difficult questions to the collector. Are you suitable to this collector post? Did you understand? This is how the judiciary has responded. Are you able to understand? So, that is how, what I am talking about, దేని గురించి మాట్లాడుతున్నా? Statutory body. So, law గురించి మాట్లాడుతున్నా. అంటే ఈవెన్ జడ్జిమెంట్స్ ఆఫ్ ద సుప్రీం కోర్ట్స్ ఆర్ ఆల్సో హ్యావింగ్ ఎఫెక్ట్ ఆఫ్ లా. మరి లా అంటే ఏంటి మరి? అంటే లా హ్యాస్ జెనరిక్ మీనింగ్, లా హ్యాస్ ఓవర్లాపింగ్ మీనింగ్. సో డెఫినెట్లీ ఇన్ ఆర్డర్ టు డిఫరెన్షియేట్ వాట్ ఈస్ లా, what is law? So, CAG full form అని అడుగుతున్నారు. Comptroller and Auditor General. Comptroller and Auditor General. Okay, anyway we will be studying. Auditor అంటే ఎవరు? The one who scrutinizes the veracity of the accounts. He is called as auditor. అర్థమవుతుందా? Right. So that is a different story. So what is statute? Tell me. Statute is something which is a law enacted by legislature. Okay, a bill is introduced into legislature. The bill is to be passed and eventually it has to take the consent of the president at the union level, governor at the state level. Then the bill will become, what is it? Statute. The agency which is created out of a law enacted by the legislature is called as statutory body. Example, Right to Information Act has created Central Information Commission. So CAC is statutory body or constitutional body? Statutory body. Because it is not created by the constitution, it is created by law enacted by the legislature. Okay, similarly National Human Rights Commission, this was a previous question. The question was this way: which of the following bodies statutory body and ichadu? He has given mix of bodies. One of the options was National Human Rights Commission. What is the right answer? National Human Rights Commission. Why? Because it has been created through Protection of Human Rights Act of 1993. అర్థమవుతుందా? Right. So we will be studying that. Regulatory bodies. What is it? Regulatory bodies. ఎందుకు ఈ రెగ్యులేటరీ బాడీస్ గురించి చదువుకోవాలి అంటే, I told you already, after liberalization, privatization, globalization, private sector has been given a free hand. Private sector has been given a free hand. Government has deliberately reduced its role. Okay, that's why Modi government came up with a plan called as minimum government, maximum governance. You have been given financial freedom. You do whatever you want to do. Okay, suppose previously BSNL was only the institution, only the company which could give you telecom services. Now presently, if I ask you, how many of you are having BSNL subscription? How many of you raise the hand? Only one out of these many members. Most of the subscriptions are belonging to Jio and Airtel. So now tell me, if Jio and Airtel cheat you, can the government allow that? Whether the government should permit that? No. So government will ensure the competition among these institutions and ensure the fair play among these institutions by establishment of the regulatory bodies. What is the regulator for telecom sector? TRAI, Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. So whenever you allow the competition, whenever you allow the private sector, there must be an independent regulator to control all these private institutions which are helping in the service delivery in a given sphere. For example, for insurance, what is the agency? IRDA, Insurance Regulatory Development Authority. For banking sector, who is the regulator? RBI, Reserve Bank of India. That's how we will be studying regulatory bodies. Okay. Quasi-judicial bodies. What is it? Quasi-judicial bodies. Judicial body means, what is the purpose of judiciary? Tell me, I told you already. Resolution of disputes in the society. But tell me whether judiciary is facing the burden of cases or pendency of cases. Yes or no? Yes. In India, for the justice delivery, it is taking years together, sometimes decades together. So if the disputes are pending this way, whether the business can happen in the society? No, it will hamper in the business environment. Suppose if a foreign investor comes to India, if he finds this kind of delayed justice, will he be coming and establishing the company here? No. But okay, dispute lo enter ayipote saripotadi. But company profits ani potayi. Kabatti there must be quicker resolution of disputes. That is possible through quasi-judicial bodies. We will be explaining what is quasi-judicial body. We can say quasi-judicial body is nothing but a non-judicial body exercising judicial functions. That is what called as quasi-judicial body. For example, tribunals. Okay, Lok Adalat. Okay, so water dispute tribunal, CAT, SAT, these are all what? Quasi-judicial bodies. Right, next, government policies and interventions in the development of various sectors, issues arising out of their design and implementation. So in other words, we will be studying how the government is helping in the development of various sectors of economy, various sectors of the governance, health, education, decongestion of roads, traffic management, better environment regulation. All these sectors will be studied under this particular topic. This topic has overlapping with all the subjects. Economy to overlapping unda leda? Kachitanga undi. Society to overlapping unda? Untundi. So that will be studied, but it is very essential. Even in this particular topic, even RBI monetary policy was also questioned previously. Generally, RBI in monetary policy comes under which subject? Economy. Road Rail Tariff Authority. Okay, and encouraging the public transport. Encouraging the public transport ekkada ravala? Environment lo ravala ledante economy lo ravala. But ekkada adugutunnadu? Governance lo adugutunnadu. Ante any aspect which is related to the functioning of the government is generally asked in the examination under this particular topic. Ardhamavutunda? Tarvata developmental process and development industry, role of NGOs, SHGs. I told you already. Presently the governance is not structure oriented, rather it is process oriented. State is identifying the better agency to perform the public functions. Better agency. But Akshaya Patra Foundation undanukondi, they are driven by charity, service motivation. So hence it is the right agency to deliver the 5 rupees meal program. So the state will choose the right players in the form of NGOs, SHGs. Okay, and we will be studying what are the features of these agencies and what are the laws which will govern their functioning. Okay, so we will be studying that. Next one, welfare schemes for vulnerable sections of the populations. Because Indian constitution, is it only political document or even it is a social document? Any constitution will be giving a political structure. Hence, every constitution is a political document. But Indian constitution is not only a political document, rather it is also social document. చూడండి British rule ఉన్నప్పుడు Gandhiji has identified two enemies, two problems Indian society has faced. Problem number one was British rule. Is it external or internal? External. And there are internal problems also. What is that? Casteism. For example, SCs you have seen. SCs have faced the historical injustice in the form of discrimination, injustice, lack of access to the public services. తెలుసు కదా ఎలాంటి ఫార్మ్ ఆఫ్ డిస్క్రిమినేషన్ ఉండేదో. Women have faced suppression throughout the history. Sati practice. Women were thrown into the funeral pyre of the husband. Prohibition on the widow marriages. No property rights. Women were subjected to suppression. Tribals were subjected to alienation, where their lands have been taken by British government. Forests have been controlled by the British government. It sent its bureaucracy there to control the lives of the tribal people. So they have faced the alienation. Who has to address all these problems? Constitution. So Constitution thus it envisages రీస్ట్రక్చరింగ్ ఆఫ్ సొసైటీ, రాడికల్ రీస్ట్రక్చరింగ్ ఆఫ్ సొసైటీ. మీరు చూడండి నక్సలైట్స్ యొక్క సిద్ధాంతం ఏంటి? వాట్ ద నక్సలైట్స్ వాంట్ టు డూ? దే వాంట్ టు రీస్ట్రక్చర్ ద స్టేట్ సో దట్ స్టేట్ విల్ బి సర్వింగ్ ద నీడ్స్ ఆఫ్ ది poorest of the poor by establishing a communist society. But what Indian constitution is striving for? It is also striving for revolution. Maoist revolution is violent revolution. Constitution revolution is silent revolution. అర్థమవుతుందా? కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ ద్వారా వచ్చే రెవల్యూషన్ ఎలా ఉంటుంది? సైలెంట్గా ఉంటుంది, బ్లడ్లెస్ రెవల్యూషన్. మావోయిస్ట్ రెవల్యూషన్ ఏంటి? violent revolution. How the constitution is promoting revolution? By redistributing the resources in the society. Land reforms, is it violent? Is it radical or not? Radical. You take the land from the haves and distribute it to the have-nots, and that itself is not sufficient. Opportunities must be given. Reservation is implemented. That itself is not sufficient. Assistance must be given by the state, like widow pensions, special schemes for the educational attainment of SCs, STs, minorities and other vulnerable sections. That is given in the form of welfare schemes for vulnerable sections, mechanisms, laws, for example Domestic Violence Act, SC STs Atrocities Prevention Act, Transgenders Protection Act. So everything will be studied here. Okay, right. Then issues relating to development and management of social sector services, health, education and human resources. Chudandi, oka country ప్రాపర్గా డెవలప్మెంట్ పాత్లో ఉండాలంటే there are 3 important essentials. చెప్పండి ఏంటి? అమెరికాకి ఇండియాకి, చైనాకి ఇండియాకి కంపేర్ చేసి చూసినప్పుడు వేర్ దే ఆర్ గోయింగ్ అహెడ్? హెల్త్. దే ఆర్ హెల్త్ కాన్షియస్. ఓకే, అండ్ దే ఆర్ ఇంప్లిమెంటింగ్ సచ్ ఎ స్ట్రాంగ్ రెగ్యులేటరీ సిస్టమ్. ఇప్పుడు చూడండి, ఒక డ్రగ్ ఎవరి ద్వారా అప్రూవ్ అయితే ఇంటర్నేషనల్ యాక్సెప్టెన్స్ ఉంటుంది అనుకుంటున్నారు మీరు? Suppose I have manufactured a drug, I want to sell it in some country. Whose approval is required? WHO. కానీ నాకు WHO లేదు, FDA అప్రూవల్ ఉంది, ఫుడ్ అండ్ డ్రగ్ అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్ ఆఫ్ అమెరికా. ఈజ్ ఇట్ గ్లోబల్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్ ఆర్ డొమెస్టిక్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్ ఆఫ్ అమెరికా? డొమెస్టిక్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్ ఆఫ్ అమెరికా, బట్ స్టిల్ it enjoys a global acceptance. If a drug is FDA approved means it is ultimate drug. అంటే చూడండి, అమెరికన్ రెసిలియన్స్ అర్థమవుతుందా? హౌ ఎఫెక్టివ్లీ దే ఆర్ మేనేజింగ్ దేర్ హెల్త్. సో హౌ వీఆర్ మేనేజింగ్ అవర్ హెల్త్? ఈవెన్ టుడే స్టెంట్స్ ఆర్ నాట్ మ్యానుఫ్యాక్చర్డ్. మెజారిటీ ఆఫ్ ద స్టెంట్స్ హ్యావ్ బీన్ మ్యానుఫ్యాక్చర్డ్ బై MNCs. ఇండియన్ గవర్నమెంట్ హ్యాస్ నో కంప్లీట్ కంట్రోల్ ఆన్ ద స్టెంట్స్. తెలుసు కదా, ఇప్పుడు పీపుల్ ఆర్ డైయింగ్ ఫ్రమ్ కమ్యూనికబుల్ డిసీజెస్ ఆర్ నాన్ కమ్యూనికబుల్ డిసీజెస్. మెజారిటీ నెంబర్ నాన్ కమ్యూనికబుల్ డిసీజెస్. 65% deaths are due to non-communicable disease. How the state is measuring up to that particular challenge, that we will be studying in the health. Education is important. Education ఎలా ఉండాలి? ఇండస్ట్రియల్ రిలవెంట్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఉండాలా, లేదంటే అకాడమిక్ రిలవెన్స్ సరిపోతుందా? ఇండస్ట్రియల్ రిలవెన్స్. సో హౌ వీఆర్ ప్రమోటింగ్, హౌ వీఆర్ రిఫార్మింగ్ ద ఎడ్యుకేషన్ సిస్టమ్. నేషనల్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ పాలసీ ఆఫ్ 2020 విల్ బి స్టడీయింగ్ దట్. ఓకే, health policy of 2017 and health architecture will be studied. Challenges we will be studying, measures we will be studying. ఓకే, సో ఎగ్జామినేషన్ క్వశ్చన్ అడిగితే అంతకంటే మించి అడుగుతారా చెప్పండి? అవే కదా అడిగేది. ఓకే, రైట్. సిమిలర్లీ హ్యూమన్ రిసోర్సెస్, స్కిల్. 3 important limitations India faces. One is education, health, skill. హెల్త్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఉంటే సరిపోదు, ఏముండాలి? స్కిల్ కూడా ఉండాలి. స్కిల్ కోసం ఎక్కడికి వెళ్తున్నాం? అమీర్పేట్కి వెళ్తున్నాం. ఎస్ ఆర్ నో? ఫర్ ద సాఫ్ట్వేర్ ఆస్పిరెంట్స్ వేర్ దే ఆర్ గోయింగ్, అమీర్పేట్ ఈస్ బికమింగ్ స్కిల్ సెంటర్. Why can't the universities become the skill centers? So such questions will be observing in this topic. Right. Next, important aspects of governance. Transparency. Government ela panchayali. How the government has to function. Transparency, accountability, e-governance. Because what kind of legacy we have inherited from British rule? Unaccountable bureaucracy. Unaccountable bureaucracy. Chudandi, bureaucracy ela untundi. Have you seen police real behavior? Are they soft towards the people or rash towards the people? Extremely rash towards the people. Police station complaint ఇవ్వడానికి పోతే you will subjected to secondary victimization. Already you got victimized by some person, and when you visit the police station you will be undergoing secondary victimization. You will be treated in an unpolite manner, impolite manner. Did you understand? మరి డెమోక్రసీ ఏం ఎస్టాబ్లిష్ చేస్తుంది? పీపుల్స్ రూల్. దెన్ హూ ఇస్ సర్వెంట్ అండ్ హూ ఇస్ మాస్టర్? People are masters and government is servant. Unfortunately, the role is reversed in the reality. Then how to address? It can be addressed to reforms, civil service reforms. We will be studying that. We will be studying how the laws will be empowering the citizen. Like RTA, right to information. Citizen can seek information from the government. That's how individual is empowered. Individual can directly monitor the functioning of the government. So we will be studying in the name of good governance. What is that? Good governance. We will be studying citizen charters. Government has to serve the needs of the people in the timely manner. So what is the timeliness? We will be studying in the citizen charters. And transparency, accountability, institutional and other measures, other miscellaneous provisions regarding the governance will be studied. Role of civil services in democracy. How the civil service will helping in the promotion of democracy. We will be studying that. Okay. So finally, these kind of questions will be possible in the examination. Just I am giving you a sample question. The Constitution of India is a living instrument with capabilities of enormous dynamism. It is a constitution made for the progressive society, illustrated with a special reference to expanding horizons of the right to life and personal liberty. And in other words, what is asked? Judicial activism. What is that question? Judicial activism. How Supreme Court is expanding rights of the people. Stating that Indian Constitution is living document. Just now I told you, right? Indian Constitution is living document because the changes in the society must be accommodated into the Constitution. That accommodation is possible by means of two things. A. Interpretation by the judiciary. B. Constitution amendment. Constitution amendment. అర్థమవుతుందా? రైట్. మీరు ఆర్టికల్ 21 ఓపెన్ చేసి చూడండి కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్లో. వాట్ డూ యూ సీ? The right to life and personal liberty shall not be deprived except according to procedure established by law. ఈ ఫ్రేజ్ చూస్తారు. ఎవరైనా అడిగితే ఆర్టికల్ 21 అంటే ఏంటంటే దే విల్ సే ఇట్ ఈస్ రైట్ టు లైఫ్. ఇట్ ఈస్ రైట్ టు లైఫ్. అర్థమవుతుందా? మరి రైట్ టు ప్రైవసీ ఈజ్ ఫండమెంటల్ రైట్ ఆర్ నాట్? రైట్ టు ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఈజ్ ఫండమెంటల్ రైట్ ఆర్ నాట్? వెదర్ ఈజ్ ఇట్ ఫౌండ్ అండర్ ఆర్టికల్ 21 ఆఫ్ ది కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్? మీరు ఒరిజినల్ కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ ఓపెన్ చేసి చూస్తే డాక్యుమెంట్ ఉంటుంది మినిస్ట్రీ ఆఫ్ లా వెబ్సైట్లో. దట్ ఈస్ వాట్ కాల్డ్ ఎస్ బేర్ కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్. మీరు బేర్ కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ ఓపెన్ చేసి చూడండి, ఆర్టికల్ 21 కింద రైట్ టు ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఉంటుందా? ఉండదు. హూ హెస్ క్రియేటెడ్ దిస్ రైట్? జుడిషియరీ. బై మీన్స్ ఆఫ్ విచ్ పవర్? ఇంటర్ప్రిటేషన్. ఆర్టికల్ 21A చూడండి, అది ఉంటుంది. ఎందుకు? దట్ ఈస్ అమెండెడ్ బై పార్లమెంట్. దట్ ఈస్ అమెండెడ్ బై పార్లమెంట్. సో వీ విల్ బి స్టడీయింగ్ హౌ ద జుడిషియరీ హ్యాస్ ఎక్స్పాండెడ్ రైట్ టు లైఫ్. దెర్ ఆర్ మెనీ థింగ్స్ టు డిస్కస్. చాలా ఫైన్ డీటెయిల్స్ ఉంటాయి. These details are not captured by any material which is available in the market. This is my guarantee. అర్థమవుతుందా? ఇప్పుడు నేను క్లాస్కి ఒక ప్రీఫిక్స్డ్ మైండ్తో రాను. యూపీఎస్సీ ఎంత ఫ్రీగా ఆలోచిస్తుందో నేను కూడా అంతే ఫ్రీగా ఆలోచిస్తాను. అర్థమవుతుందా? ఆల్ ఆఫ్ సడన్ ఐ విల్ గివ్ యూ డిఫరెంట్ క్వశ్చన్స్ అండ్ డిఫరెంట్ కంటెక్స్, డిఫరెంట్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్స్ విచ్ కెన్ బి ఫైనలీ యూటిలైజ్డ్ ఇన్ ఆన్సర్ రైటింగ్ ప్రాసెస్. అర్థమవుతుందా? ఆన్సర్ రైటింగ్కి స్పెషల్గా మెంటర్షిప్ సెషన్ జాయిన్ అవ్వాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు. Unless you have taken the strong foundational course. ఆ ఫౌండేషనల్ కోర్స్లోనే క్లాస్ రూమ్లోనే చెప్పగలగాలి టీచర్. ఏంటి? సబ్జెక్ట్లో ఉన్న అన్ని డైనమిక్స్. మీరు ఎండ్ ఆఫ్ ది డే మీరు ప్రీవియస్ ఇయర్స్ క్వశ్చన్స్ అన్ని ఓపెన్ చేసి కరెంట్ అఫైర్స్ని ఎక్స్క్లూడ్ చేయండి. వీ కాంట్ యాంటిసిపేట్ కరెంట్ అఫైర్స్, రైట్? బట్ ద కాన్సెప్ట్ బిహైండ్ దట్ కరెంట్ అఫైర్ షుడ్ హ్యావ్ బీన్ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్డ్ ఇన్ ద క్లాస్ రూమ్. అది బెంచ్ మార్క్ టీచింగ్కి. సో విల్ డెఫినెట్లీ మీట్ దిస్ పర్టికులర్ బెంచ్ మార్క్. ఓకే. అండ్ నెక్స్ట్ వన్ చూడండి, ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ ద కాన్స్టిట్యూషనల్ పర్స్పెక్టివ్ ఆఫ్ జెండర్ జస్టిస్ విత్ ద హెల్ప్ ఆఫ్ రిలవెంట్ కాన్స్టిట్యూషనల్ ప్రొవిజన్స్ అండ్ కేస్ లాస్. ఇందాక చెప్పాను విమెన్ హ్యావ్ ఫేస్డ్ సప్రెషన్. సో కాబట్టి ఆర్టికల్ 15 క్లాస్ 3 సేస్ స్పెషల్ ప్రొవిజన్స్ ఫర్ విమెన్ అండ్ చిల్డ్రన్. అందుకే చూడండి విమెన్కి చాలా స్పెషల్ లాస్ ఉంటాయి. అండ్ యు నో సుప్రీం కోర్ట్ గైడ్లైన్స్ ఇన్ విశాఖ వర్సెస్ స్టేట్ ఆఫ్ రాజస్థాన్, దట్ విల్ బి ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్డ్ హియర్. సో చాలా స్కోప్ ఉంది నేర్చుకోవడానికి. తర్వాత నెక్స్ట్ చూడండి, ప్రిలిమినరీ క్వశ్చన్. Which of the following statements correct about the Constitution of India? చూడండి, this is how the information is tested. Powers of municipalities are given under part 9A of the Constitution. Which part deals with what? Okay, is it true or false? Yes, it is true. Part 9 is about Panchayat Raj institutions, part 9A about municipal bodies. Emergency provisions are part 18 of the Constitution. Yes, true. And provisions related to amendment of the Constitution is given under part 20 of the Constitution. Statements are all true. So ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఏం చూస్ చేసుకోవాలి? ఎస్ డి 1 2 3 1 2 అండ్ 3. చూడండి సబ్జెక్ట్ ఈ ప్రాసెస్లో నేర్చుకోవాలి. ఫ్యాక్ట్స్ కాన్సెప్ట్స్ రెండు కూడా ప్రాపర్ ప్రపోర్షన్లో నేర్చుకోవాలి. ఎందుకంటే నవడేస్ యూపీఎస్సీ ఈజ్ నాట్ జస్ట్ ఆస్కింగ్ అబౌట్ కాన్సెప్ట్స్ బట్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఆల్సో ఫ్యాక్ట్స్. ఇట్ ఈస్ మిక్సింగ్ ద ఫ్యాక్ట్స్ అండ్ కాన్సెప్ట్స్. ఓకే, సో అలాగే విత్ రిఫరెన్స్ టు యూనియన్ బడ్జెట్ కన్సిడర్ ద ఫాలోయింగ్ స్టేట్మెంట్స్. సో ఈ పర్టికులర్ డీటెయిల్స్ ఇప్పుడు మీరు తెలుసుకోలేరు, బట్ స్టిల్ ద యూనియన్ ఫైనాన్స్ మినిస్టర్ ఆన్ బిహాఫ్ ఆఫ్ ది ప్రైమ్ మినిస్టర్ లేస్ డౌన్ యాన్యువల్ ఫైనాన్షియల్ స్టేట్మెంట్. మనకి యూనియన్ లెవెల్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ ఎవరు? ప్రైమ్ మినిస్టర్ అండ్ కౌన్సిల్ ఆఫ్ మినిస్టర్స్. అర్థమవుతుందా? సో ఇఫ్ ఫైనాన్స్ మినిస్టర్ హ్యాస్ టు లే డౌన్ ద బడ్జెట్, హ్యాస్ టు ప్రెజెంట్ ద బడ్జెట్, ఈజ్ ఇట్ ఆన్ ద బిహాఫ్ ఆఫ్ ది ప్రైమ్ మినిస్టర్, కౌన్సిల్ ఆఫ్ మినిస్టర్స్? కౌన్సిల్ ఆఫ్ మినిస్టర్స్. ఇందాక ఇప్పుడు ఆర్టికల్ 75 క్లాస్ 3 ఏం చెప్తుంది? ప్రైమ్ మినిస్టర్ అండ్ కౌన్సిల్ ఆఫ్ మినిస్టర్స్ ఆర్ కలెక్టివ్లీ రెస్పాన్సిబుల్ టు లోక్సభ. కలెక్టివ్ రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీ అంటే ఈజ్ ఇట్ ఆన్ బిహాఫ్ ఆఫ్ ది ప్రైమ్ మినిస్టర్ ఆర్ కౌన్సిల్ ఆఫ్ మినిస్టర్స్? కౌన్సిల్ ఆఫ్ మినిస్టర్స్. అర్థమవుతుంది? మేము చాలా డిస్కస్ చేస్తాం ఇండియాలో సింగిల్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ అంటే ఏంటి, ప్లూరల్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ అంటే ఏంటి, వై వీ హ్యావ్ అడాప్టెడ్ ప్లూరల్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్, why we did not adapt the single executive as the case with America. We will be studying all those things. At union level, no demand for grants can be made except on the recommendation of the president. So you could answer enti only 2 is the right answer. So this is how we are going to understand the subject. I think with my approach you might have understood, you can estimate, you can anticipate what I am going to talk in the class. అర్థమవుతుందా? ఏదో లక్ష్మీకాంత్ పట్టుకొని నేను 4 పాయింట్స్ చదువుకొని వచ్చి అవే 10 సార్లు చెప్పడం కాదు. మై క్లాస్ మస్ట్ బి స్టాండింగ్ ద టెస్ట్ ఆఫ్ యూపీఎస్సీ. అర్థమవుతుందా? నేను ఇవాళ చెప్పిన క్లాస్ కనీసం 3-4 సంవత్సరాలు రిలవెంట్గా ఉండాలి. సో దట్స్ హౌ వీ నీడ్ టు టీచ్. సో డెఫినెట్లీ ఐ విల్ డెఫినెట్లీ కీప్ యువర్ ట్రస్ట్ ఆన్ ద ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్ యాజ్ వెల్ as యువర్ కాన్ఫిడెన్స్ రిలేటెడ్ టు ద ఎగ్జామినేషన్. ఓకేనా? ఎనీ డౌట్స్ ఆన్ యువర్ బిహాఫ్? మీకు ఏమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉన్నాయా? సెకండ్లీ ఇంకోటి ఏంటంటే దిస్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్ ఈజ్ నాట్ అండర్ సమ్ అకాడమిషియన్, ఇట్ ఈస్ అండర్ ద ప్రాక్టీషనర్. ఎవరు? ఎక్స్ డీజీపీ ఆఫ్ జమ్మూ అండ్ కాశ్మీర్. చూడండి, మనం నార్మల్గా ఒక అకాడమిక్ డైరెక్టర్ కింద పనిచేయడం వేరు, ఒక ఎక్స్ డీజీపీ యొక్క సూపర్విజన్లో పనిచేయడం వేరు. హౌ పోలీస్ ఆఫీసర్ విల్ బి జనరల్లీ వెరీ ప్రిసైజ్ అండ్ హీ హాజ్ వర్క్డ్ ఇన్ జమ్మూ అండ్ కాశ్మీర్. ఆటోమేటిక్గా డిసిప్లిన్ కూడా అలాగే ఉంటుంది. హీ విల్ బి అటెండింగ్ ద క్లాసెస్ మెనీ టైమ్స్. సడన్గా మనం చూస్తే అక్కడ స్క్రీన్ పైన సార్ నేమ్ కూడా ఉంటుంది. అంటే మీకు అర్థం చేసుకుంటున్నారా? అంటే మీ ఇంట్రెస్ట్ కాపాడేది మేము మాత్రమే కాదు, ఎవరు కాపాడతారు? ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఇట్ విల్ బీ యాక్టివ్లీ సూపర్వైజింగ్ ద క్లాసెస్. అంటే మాపై నిఘా పెట్టడం కాదు, వాళ్ళ ఉద్దేశం ఏంటంటే ద స్టాండర్డ్స్ ఆఫ్ ద ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్ షుడ్ నెవర్ బీ కాంప్రమైజ్డ్. సో డెఫినెట్లీ సచ్ quality will be maintained across all the course. Okay, and on the top of that I will be dealing with public administration optional. Okay, if you are interested you can join that course as well. Okay, thank you. Any doubts ne meeku cheppandi? You have any doubts? What is your background?
Currently I am pursuing my undergraduation.
Where?
Amit University.
Very good. Where are you from?
I am from Maharashtra.
Maharashtra. Do you understand Telugu as well?
Yes.
Okay. What is your background? Bachelor's. Okay. Where are you from?
Filmnagar.
Okay. So your graduation completed?
Yes.
Yes. What is about you?
Sir,
Where are you from?
East Godavari.
East Godavari. Have you completed graduation?
No, sir, scientific opening.
Yes. And rest of you, where are you from? Hyderabad. Okay. You are from? Mahabubnagar. Karimnagar. Hyderabad. Meeru? Yes. Come on. Okay. I think most of you are from same areas. Okay, the Telugu states. Right. Okay. Shall I call up the session today? Any doubts ఉన్నాయా? అర్థమైందా నేను చెప్పిన టాపిక్స్? ఐ థింక్ యూ మైట్ హ్యావ్ అండర్స్టాండ్ మై మైండ్. నా మైండ్ అర్థమైందా? హౌ ఐఎమ్ గోయింగ్ టు డీల్ ద సబ్జెక్ట్? ఓకే. సో యాజ్ పర్ ద యూపీఎస్సీ రిక్వైర్మెంట్స్ థింగ్స్ విల్ బీ డన్. ఓకే, థ్యాంక్ యూ. So even online students, please respond. There are students like Yashasvi, Bhavani, Nichita, Krishna Tulasi, Uday Kumar, Ravi Shankar, Michael, Jatin, Grishma, Sri Lakshmi, Supriya, Arshia. So please come up with your questions if you have any such queries. Can you respond in the chat box? Okay, hoping that you have no doubts today. Shall I call up the session? Yes, thank you so much. Okay, thank you. So Nichita is asking, what is the difference in coaching and guidelines in this institute than compared to other institutes? Okay, so మీరే చెప్పండి ఎలా ఉంటుంది అనుకుంటున్నారు కోచింగ్? కాంప్రహెన్సివ్గా ఉంటుంది. ఎవ్రీ కాంపోనెంట్ ఆఫ్ ది పేపర్స్ విల్ బి కవర్డ్, నోట్స్ విల్ బి గివెన్ ఫర్ ఎవ్రీ టాపిక్. నో టాపిక్ ఆర్ నో వాట్ ఈస్ ద డీటెయిల్స్ ఆఫ్ ది సిలబస్ విల్ బి మిస్డ్ అవుట్. ఓకే, తర్వాత మెంటర్షిప్స్ కూడా ఉంటాయి. మీకు మెంటర్ కంపల్సరీగా అవైలబుల్గా ఉంటారు. మీకు మంచి లైబ్రరీ ఉంది, ద క్వాలిటీ లైబ్రరీ. ఎంత ట్రాంక్విలిటీ ఉంటుంది చూడండి ఒకసారి, ఎంత పీస్ ఆఫ్ మైండ్ ఎంజాయ్ చేస్తారంటే రియల్లీ యూ కెన్ సిట్ ఫర్ హవర్స్ టుగెదర్ కంటిన్యూస్లీ. చాలా మంచి యాక్సెస్. మీకు స్ట్రెస్ అనిపించింది అనుకోండి, దెర్ ఆర్ పీపుల్ టు కౌన్సిల్, లైక్ ప్రియా మేడం ఉన్నారు, సార్ ఉన్నారు, సిఇఓ సార్. యూ హ్యావ్ యాక్సెస్ టు దెమ్. అర్థమవుతుందా? బయట ఎవరికి దొరికిన యాక్సెస్ ఇది. నార్మల్గా ఒక ఐపీఎస్ ఆఫీసర్ని మీట్ అవ్వడం అంటే అంత ఈజీనా? విల్ దే గివ్ టైమ్ ఫర్ యూ? అది కూడా ఇంత సీనియర్ బ్యూరోక్రాట్స్ టైం ఇవ్వడం అది ఇంపాసిబుల్. ఇక్కడ మీకు మంచి ఎఫెక్టివ్ టైం అనేది ఇస్తారు. ఓకే, మీకు పర్సనల్ కౌన్సిలింగ్ ఉంటుంది. చెప్పొద్దు కానీ రేపటికి ఫ్యూచర్లో మీ పోస్టింగ్స్ కూడా అద్భుతమైన పోస్టింగ్స్ వస్తుంటాయి, ఎందుకంటే ఆ పరిచయాలన్నీ మీకు హెల్ప్ చేస్తుంటాయి. ఓకేనా? సో కృష్ణ తులసి ఈజ్ ఆస్కింగ్ విచ్ స్ట్రాటజీ ఈజ్ బెస్ట్ టు క్రాక్ యూపీఎస్సీ ప్రిలిమ్స్. ప్రిలిమ్స్కి కావాల్సింది ఏంటి? ఆబ్జెక్టివ్ నాలెడ్జ్, ఎబిలిటీ టు హోల్డ్ huge facts in your mind, and at the same time analytical bent of mind is required. Ability to analyze the subject is required. Okay, adi. So thank you so much. Meet you in the classes hopefully. Thank you so much. Bye.